All right. So it seems y'all can hear us once more. So to reintroduce myself, I'm still Happy by 3. I'll be hanging out for the next few minutes till we switch hosts at the hour. But I am joined for this upcoming Echoes of Wisdom run by an Echoes of Wisdom runner, Myth 197.
Hey, how's it going?
Fabulous. So
yeah,
you do not.
We were talking about the Wind Waker run that just happened whilst our comms were off, but yeah, we were just saying how difficult it is for any runner to be in a situation like that where you've had a massive setback like that and you're all on your own, and like Iwabi did an incredible job of just being able to finish out the run like that. It was so impressive.
Absolutely. Everyone kind of knows that that's an option in a marathon setting. You know, you make backup saves, you make contingency plans, but the only thing that you can predict about a live production environment is that something you did not anticipate will happen. And, you know, Iwabi did a phenomenal job figuring out a backup plan on the fly and making the rest of the run happen anyway. Looking forward though to Echoes of Wisdom, Myth, what's your Echoes of Wisdom background? What categories do you run? When did you start getting into it?
I was around since launch. I think basically everyone who's in the speedrun scene at the moment started playing it like immediately as the game came out. I was like, this is fun, I'm going to pick up the speedrun. So yeah, I have not yet run Glitchless, but I have run the halfway category, which is Defeat Ganon. So I know the first half, and I've also done... I'm one of the leaderboard mods, so I've done verification specifically of Naoto's runs as well. So I do know what the whole route is. But
so you've watched the route enough.
Yeah, I've run 80%. I've run all dungeons. It's the only ones I haven't done are the longest two, which is Glitchless and Hundo. So, but yeah.
Oh, it seems like we're off to the races. We're ready to party. She's peeping.
RTA in Japan Winter 2025をご覧の皆様、こんにちは。RTA の世界にはこんな言葉があるのをご存知でしょうか。ゼルダが終わるとゼルダが始まる。ということで、ゼルダゾーン最終タイトルですね、ゼルダの伝説知恵の借り物の RTA を始めさせていただきます。本日はよろしくお願いいたします。それでは早速奏者の方から自己紹介の方よろしくお願いします。
はい、はい、今回奏者を務めます。
Yes, so we've got introductions at the moment.
背中にゼルダ姫を背負いながら頑張ります。
Our runner Naoto is going to be taking us through this Echoes of Wisdom run.
はい。I wonder if that's actually his name, because that's just a name. Like,
yeah,
I have a few friends just named Naoto. I wonder if it's actually his name or just a gamer tag.
そして解説を務めさせていただくタオミョと申します。私は背中にガノンドルフを背負って頑張りたいと思います。ガノンと同様に大きな声で解説。
Glad we get to see the back of all the fancy hoodies. That's nice.
Yeah, it's got all of the character designs from Echoes of Wisdom.
はい、じゃあ早速始めていきます。知恵の借り物はスイッチのタイトルですけど、今回。
So they are running on the Switch 2. So the Switch 2 version came out earlier this year, and if you played the game originally on the Switch when it came out a year ago, it had the smallest amount of like frame rate and like performance issues, and those got completely cleaned up in the Switch 2 release. So it is just completely optimal to run on Switch 2.
What's
Especially in
the,
a category like Glitchless, it's a 4-hour category, and across that you're saving, I don't know, like 5 minutes or so just by faster loads and stuff like that. It's big.
What I was just about to ask. I know there's a lot of games that as soon as Switch 2 released, it was like, okay, everybody gets a free 5 minutes off their PB now. Reset the leaderboard, basically.
Yeah, we added a we've added not a leaderboard split, but everyone's console is marked, so you can do filters and stuff to see like, oh, who is the best non-Switch 2 runner, or who's the best out of people who played Switch 2. So Echoes of Wisdom, yeah, at the start, I mean, this game you're playing as Zelda, but we don't start playing as Zelda. We play as Link, and we got this little section at the beginning, a little prologue where it's you're refamiliarizing yourself with Zelda. This is in the Link's Awakening engine, and so
you can tell because you're doing jumps.
Yeah, it plays exactly
jump in
like
any other.
Yeah, it plays and feels just like Link's Awakening, at least through all of this section. So we've got some cool strats here, like there's a nice spin attack there to insta-kill with those Dark Nuts, and they're just optimizing their lines here, just like directly going in the straightest line between all of these sections. And it's a very short section here. It's only going to be about 2 minutes, and there's some nice jumps here as well. Like that last jump is it's rather precise for how it looks, but that's it's nice when you're able to go through this whole section completely and just like hopping over the enemies and just ignoring them. Like this is kind of a little fun section, and then we're going to go immediately to our first boss fight. This run starts off with a bang. This is a really awesome quick kill that we're going to do in this fight. This is a 3-cycle fight, so this is the first one. We just charge our bombs and it turns them into bomb shoes. Second cycle, drop 3 bombs, hit it with an arrow, kill him, now he's done. Now third cycle, gonna throw 2 bombs there, hit, throw another 2 bombs, and GG's. Yeah, nice quick kill on Ganon. And yeah, that is the action-packed prologue section of the run, and we are going to now have a lot of cutscenes for the next 10 minutes. It's not going to be much gameplay at all, and it's just going to be the intro cutscenes and establishing the beginning of the game before we really get to playing control of Zelda again.
Impeccable timing, because we are coming up on the hour. So my hosting shift for this evening is ending, and I will be handing it off to the lovely Sawayoshi. But that's perfect timing, because now we have 10 minutes of cutscenes.
Yeah, hello, I am Sawayoshi, and I'll be here for hosting for you all for the next little while. Myth, how are we doing, and how is the run? What are we going to be looking for the next 3 hours and 45 minutes?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, you came in just at the right time. So, yeah, you're going to be able to see most of the run because we've only just started. So we've had this little section at the beginning where we were playing as Link, and then Link got captured, and now we're playing as Zelda, and we're going to be playing as Zelda for the rest of the game. So we've got this intro section where it's just a collapse section. We got to run away and escape, so we're just going to be running out of this area for a bit. And yeah, we're being guided by this light, which we're going to get introduced to later. We've got the next 10 minutes to establish a lot of the stuff that happens in this game, because there is a long intro section with a lot of cutscenes, but yeah, so Zelda is almost just out of this section here. Yeah, going through that door, and that's that's the end of the prologue section.
というところで、このゲームの紹介に移らさせていただければと思います。このゲームはですね、2024
Yeah, funnily enough, this is like the only part of the game that I've ever seen. So from here on out, everything is new to me, other than trailers and whatnot.
いるかと思うんですけども、このゲームはゼルダシリーズとして初めて、ゼルダ姫が主人公となって。
The intro section is very linear and like it's very like it's fun in your first time round in a casual respect, but for it like a speedrun setting, we desperately wish that Nintendo put in some press start to skip the cutscenes because we could have saved 10 minutes of not having to rewatch a lot of these cutscenes. When you get past the first dungeon, the game is amazing. It's so open. You can go anywhere and do almost anything. So it's very much we just want to try and get to that point, and then the world's ours, and there's so many options of routing and choice. It's really a great exploration, especially from a speedrunning perspective. It's you have so many options. Figuring out which one's the fastest is amazing.
ストーリーを進めていくってところが見どころになってくると思いますので、そちらの方を楽しみにしていただければと思っております。ゲーム自体の
One thing I just noticed in that little prologue section, it's interesting what at the very least recent games have done to bring your health back down to the default 3 hearts. Because I know in Breath of the, at least in Tears of the Kingdom, it kind of just takes them away from you. And here, Link started at max, and then Zelda started at 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that it very much flows from like, oh, if you've just played Link's Awakening, it feels very much like Link's Awakening throughout that prologue section where it's like, oh, I'm max power Link, oh, I've got sword, bombs, arrows, it's like, oh, everything I've had from Link's Awakening and stuff, and then it's like, oh, well, you're not playing as Link, you're playing as Zelda. So now get introduced to Zelda and start from the basics and understand that, oh, it's a completely different way of playing the game. You've got you're not going around and hitting things with a sword. You got to think about things in a completely different way. You spawn echoes, and you have to think about how they interact with the world to solve your problems.
解説を担当するとなってから勉強したところでありますので、奏者の超絶テクニックをもう徹底解説というよりは、横で賑やかしを担当させていただければなと思っておりますので、よろしくお願いいたします。一応解説2人、準備させてもらってるんですけども、私の方は、ダンジョンの攻略であったりテクニック面の解説を主に担当したいと考えております。本日はよろしくお願いします。
はい、改めまして解説の細見真央です。このゲームでは、走ったことはないんですけれども、
Yeah, it looks like even on the main event side, they're using this time these cutscenes to introduce everyone on screen, the runner and commentators.
Yeah.
挙手をお願いします。結構半分ぐらいですか？
ですね。
はい、ありがとうございます。
いや素晴らしいですね。このゲームのこのカテゴリー効か不効か、ほぼすべてのメインストーリーを踏襲する形になっておりますので、ネタバレを。
I guess we can talk a little bit about what the main story of this is. So we're seeing the main inciting incident right now. This purple cracks appearing over the world, and one just appeared and captured the king and the minister in general, who are his chief advisors, and now they've been replaced by echo clones that have nefarious motives. And during this cutscene right here, the king says that Zelda is the cause of all of this thing and for the guards to lock her up. So now Zelda's all on her own.
3人が裂け目から戻ってきたと思ったら、何やらですね、裂け目を、作り出した犯人ということで牢屋に入れられてしまいます。
なんと
この裂け目なんですけれども、ハイラル王国で、各地でですね、頻発しているいろんな人や物を飲み込んでは消してしまうという、恐ろしい、何やら正体不明のものとなっております。
なんか回ってますね。はしゃいでますね。
ちょっと時間が余っているようで。はい。
It's very interesting seeing
はい、
people
牢屋
run
に
the game,
入れられてし
and
まった
there is no
なんですけれども、
you just
先ほど
have to wait there for a
牢屋
timer
お
until
見
the
かけしました
cutscene appears, but everyone spins.
瓦礫が崩壊
Everyone just runs around in the
するとこ
circle.
ろから、
I mean, there's nothing else you can
導い
do.
てくれた光が登場します。はい。この可愛い黄色いふわふわしたもの。
One of the things with this game as well is there are so many text boxes. We have allowed Turbo Controller just so that you can press the button to just mash through these text boxes so you're not just having to sit there for, at some point, 5 minutes straight, just not doing anything other than mashing the B button and only the B
い
button.
ろんなものや壁をすり抜けることができます。
And yeah, so a lot of people use cutscenes like this and some of the post-dungeon cutscenes to literally activate Turbo, put the controller down, go and have a break, and come back.
新たにですね、力をここから出る力を授けてあげるよということで、
But this, when Echo gets the Zelda rod. Zelda has now is going to get the Echo rod. We've got our first and our primary ability for the rest of the game.
このトリロットはですね、このゲー
And
ムにおいて
this is where some of the gameplay can begin again. So we're going to capture a table. Really cool thing about the table is it's the only item, the only Echo you need to beat the game. It is possible to beat the game with just a table, just tables. It is it's a very impressive and like highly technical like glitch exhibition run basically, and like it's fantastic to delve into. We're going to see nothing related to that really, because this is entirely glitchless. We're playing the game using none of the glitches. Really, there's only one main glitch, but this section's really cool, and it just shows how we approach this game as a speedrun, using the tables to skip past all of the guards. We don't mind if the guards like chase after us. We have a really sick strat here where we put a table down as we're in the middle of a jump. We don't slow down at all. Normally, if you're just running along or on the ground and you use the Echo Rod, Zelda kind of stands still for a second and then deploys it. But if you jump and deploy it mid-air, you don't lose any speed, any momentum. You can keep going, and then you land on the table that you spawned. It's a precise timing to get that. It's not trivial to land at all, but if you're able to perform that, then you get to run through that guard section without slowing down at all.
ここで、兵士から逃げ出した後にインパというキャラクターに、会うことができます。兵士の皆さんはですね、上司命令に従って心の中では若干ちょっと疑念を抱きつつゼルダを投獄したんですけども、インパというキャラクターはですね、とてもゼルダに対して信頼を置いているキャラクターですので、
so as I was saying, this is the glitchless category, which means we're not going to do any glitches. And I say glitches, but I really mean glitch. There is a single glitch in this game that is basically the most powerful thing. There are technically two, but really it's just the one main one, and it's wrong warping. We can activate warp points in the overworld and do a respawn menu stacking glitch to be able to activate them whilst we're inside a dungeon, and it doesn't send us to the overworld, but it sends us to the respective warp point ID inside a different dungeon. And the any percent category basically does that to warp to the final dungeon and beat the game in about 30 minutes. And we use it in all dungeons to get to the end of every single dungeon as quickly as possible and just beat them. But in Glitchless, we're not going to do that. We're just going to be going through the game not in the intended manner, but without using that glitch.
黄色いキラキラというのは今木から出てるようなこういうエフェクトですね。
So Zelda now has the ability to spin, and spinning is great. It gives us a little bit of a speed boost. It's quite similar to if you played Minish Cap or Four Swords Adventures, where you're able to roll to get a little bit of speed. In those games, you get some invulnerability. In this, you don't. But you do get a little bit of damage. So, like you can spin through grass. You only get a speed boost with the spin if you're in contact with the ground. So there's a you kind of want to time the spin so that you spin and then jump. If you jump and then whilst you're midair and you try and do any spins, you spin but you don't get any speed bonus. This is a really nice strat here. We just build up a ladder of beds and then just drop a bed, and the physics destroys the box. You can be really creative with some of the puzzle solutions like that. For a while, runners were getting the boulder and solving it the intended way by putting a boulder and waiting for it to drop down, but it's been really cool having like the speedrun community that we have in Echoes of Wisdom, because it was, well, when it came out, every Zelda runner from all of the different Zelda games all just came together and were applying their knowledge. So we had like Wind Waker runners and Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, and the 2D games like Link to the Past and stuff. Everyone coming together and going like, oh yeah, we can do that, oh we can do this, and everyone just combining their knowledge together and just being really creative with this. It was a lovely sandbox to be able to just figure out a bunch of things.
優しい妖精なんですね。
起きたね、行こう。優しいんですかね、これは。はい。あ、すみません。
どうぞ。
というわけで、無事に裂け目から逃げ出す。
So now we're out of the main castle section during the intro. Now we're in the overworld for the first time, but we're in a restricted form of it. We were only stuck on this beach, and when we get to the next village, we'll be very much cordoned and hemmed in by obstacles, forcing us to do the first dungeon. There is no way of skipping this first dungeon without doing a convoluted setup for doing a wrong walk.
このようにですね、敵キャラを倒した時にもこの借り
And we're going to be grabbing our first main damaging echo of the run. It's going to be the urchins. They're very good.
借り物として使うことができます。なので敵によってはただただ攻撃をしてくれる敵であったりとか、今のキースのように空を飛ぶ。
It's very interesting to see the wide variety of echoes, and each of them having their own little niche use and application that is very helpful.
さあここでひたすら
Urchins are really good because of like their spiky property which helps them deal damage to some enemies, which a lot of other echoes that you may be able to spawn wouldn't be able to damage. So they're very universal, and in something like Glitchless there's a lot of use to them. Almost every category used to always get them, but a lot of the faster categories now just skip it because they figured out ways of not having to do that, not having to use it. And the other thing we're going to get is trampolines. Trampolines are great. They are a single spawn thing that lets you gain a lot of height quite quickly. So yeah, we can do some little building. It's great. You get to be a little engineer and just like figure out how to construct elaborate constructions to be able to accomplish tasks you want.
And I guess they just let you go on top of the trees.
Yeah, there's no wall there. There are invisible walls, though. All around this region of the overworld, there are invisible walls, so we can't escape. Despite us being able to build our way out, we just hit invisible walls, and it's like, there's no way out. So we are forced to go to the first dungeon, and all we needed to do before doing the first dungeon was like there's a couple of forced story flags that we had to hit. Like there was a warp point earlier, and then also running up to that house was just the required things for this to be able to trigger. And this is where the location of the first dungeon is. We're also going to be grabbing that warp point that we just grabbed there. That's going to be helpful much later on in the run, but at various points we're going to be grabbing overworld warp points. They just help with overworld travel, it's very helpful to be able to warp from one side of the world to the other. There are some great tricks that are completely glitchless that are going to let us very quickly skip over the big sections of the overworld, but we need to get up to that point first, and we don't really have access to much right now. So we've got the first stilled realm. These stilled realms are like a parallel dimension that's normally precedes a dungeon, so there's this little platforming puzzle section that you have to complete, and then you get to the entrance of the dungeon, and then you can actually go into the first to the dungeon and do it. So right here there is a trick to skip this cave. This is quite a long cave with some fights and stuff inside, but using this frozen NPC here, we can build our way to skip over this section. And yeah, it was great figuring out that we can stand on them. That's called wife skip, because that's the wife of the one of the people in the first cutscene when we were back in Hyrule Castle that gets captured by the
王様の横にいましたね。
by the rift. And that is the minister as well from the intro cutscene. So
さあここで
that's a fantastic trick. That's super fun, and it's not that difficult to accomplish. You just got to get used to balancing on the wife. But you can always just retry it if you fall down or anything. You just build up
ここで
again.
何やら大きな岩が目の前を塞いでおります。トリー君この岩気になるのと。
So we're still basically in the intro section of the game, so we're getting introduced to all of the main abilities. So now this is Bind. We get to use our friend. We didn't introduce. This is Try, and they're our companion for this game. They give us all the abilities of like being able to echo, and yeah, we get to use Bind to move and manipulate objects around. So yeah, being creative again, we get to. Just throw objects at that poor sculpture. But
sure.
we need him. We need the sculpture because the sculpture is great. Look, we get to climb up here nice and quick instead of having to reverse any obstacles. And another echo we want to get is this guy, the Ignazol. This is pretty much the only use I think. There may be some niche uses of the urchin later on, but we just want to quickly kill that Ignazol. Ignazol is our boy. He is amazing. He is the best echo you can get in the early game. For some reason, there is oh yeah, and also a little bed stack there, just so you're a little bit higher on the elevator as you're climbing up, just so you can get off quicker. It's like just these little minor optimizations that you do to be able to get through these sections faster. Ignazol is a fire source, so it's going to be useful for solving puzzles like this, where you get to, like, if you lock on, we locked on to that torch. The Ignazol wasn't close enough to it, but because we were locked on when we spawned it, it knew that we wanted it to attack it, so it jumped and hit the torch for us. Like, it's really cool that how you can control the AI of your echoes sometimes, like doing stuff like that. But yeah, Ignazol does it's the only echo in the game where it doesn't do the same amount of damage as its like its original form. The original enemy always does the same amount of damage as the echo form that you spawn, except for the Ignazol. Ignazol, the echo form, does double the damage. It's the only one, so yeah, we're going to use it. So, Naoto said that they had a donation incentive here. They are not going to use any echoes in this fight to kill Link other than the table. So we're gonna see the table percent strats here of how do you do this section with just the beam. And this is it.
リンク最初に盾をひっぺがされているので防御手段がありません。なすすべなくテーブルの雨を食らうだけです。はい、ここ
I love that you had to move Link like out from under the pot.
さあリンクこのようにですね。
Yes. Link is a little bit of a dummy, and we do have to. This isn't going to be the only time that we're going to see him in the run. We have to manipulate him a lot to behave and do what we want.
ちょっと座標がずれてたかな。
Yeah, luckily there's enough pots in this room so that they can they'll be able to set this up. However, even if one of the pots matter up or so. But yeah, this fight is 2 cycles. That they already did the first cycle, and then Link goes all purple like this, and this is the final cycle now. So it's basically the same as the first one. They're going to position themselves here, drop some tables on Link's head. Luckily, Link does not learn and keeps running to the same spot. And GG's, nice.
GG's. The more I'm seeing of these table strats, the more I'm thinking I gotta watch a table percent run now. That's gotta be like a category extension, right?
It absolutely is. Yes, we've added a table percent because well, it was we were trying to figure out. It's like, what is the minimum number of echoes you need to beat the game? And some YouTubers did a big hunt for it like last year around about this time, and some people like they did a big video about it, and it was like, oh, I give up. I can't. I think it's 4 or so, and then a couple of the speedrunners were like, we've got this, and managed to reduce it down to 1. It's just a table, and we've got a category for it now. It's honestly not that much longer than an any percent speedrun. It's just difficult because also 80% is a difficult category as well. They are both around the 30 to 40 minute marks. So yeah, more abilities. This whole dungeon, we're just going to be introduced to so many abilities. So we've got the sword form now, so we just harness the energy, like the spirit of Link, and are able to activate a sword using our blue energy meter up in the top left. We turn into sword form, and that meter slowly drains. There is a lot of like management and efficiency of only using the sword form when it's absolutely needed, and figuring out the best times to farm energy for it and using it in the best spots to save the most amount of time. You definitely don't want to waste your sword ability too much. Really nice fights here. There's a little bit of tech here with the Dekubabas. When you bind it and pull it, if you jump just before the head detaches, it cancels the falling over animation Zelda would normally have when you pull it, which helps save some time. Now, this is probably the hardest part of the dungeon coming up in the next 2 rooms. We're going to get introduced to a new ability. So first there's this room, which is just a reasonably tight cycle. There's a couple various different strats you can do. You can bind it and play, so you can spawn a bed and stuff, but get over to the other side. But now we've got a new ability, which is going to come up in a little bit, but this is called Stratty McStratface, and you just spawn a couple of tarantulas down like that, and we use the new ability, Reverse Bind, where we bind ourselves to a moving object and are able to traverse gaps. That is really difficult. That was amazing. Well done.
さあ2マス分の足場であるベッドを使って、テーブル組んではなくベッドを使って、大きな鍵を入手していきます。
Yeah, that is the hardest part of this dungeon, like that, being able to do the jumps and spawning the tarantulas. That was amazing to see. It's so easy to fall down to the bottom and have to restart the room from scratch.
I was watching and I saw them jump out from below the platforms. I'm like, how? Yeah, that looks difficult.
It is, yeah. That's a lot of practice. So now we've got the first boss, and we're absolutely going to be using sword form here. So this is the Talus fight. They spawn a table. Beautiful. That was amazing. They got a quick second cycle there by staying on the bed as it got lifted up and did the spin attack to insta-kill it. Yeah, that's lovely to see. And now third cycle, they got the good RNG here and the jump spin, and GG's. Perfect Talus fight.
頭のコアに攻撃をすることができますので、弱点が露出したら、タイミングよく攻撃を当て続けて撃破です。ほぼワンタンキルですね。完璧だと思います。このようにですね、このゲームグリッチレスでバグ技でかなりスキップするというところは
And as is customary with every single Zelda game, we get a heart container.
入りますので、このボス戦こそが個人的には奏者の腕の見せ所
And special to this game is that every time we beat a dungeon, and in some other circumstances that will come up, we're going to rescue a bunch of tries, and they're going to be freed. And what that's going to do is it's going to level up our echoing ability. So at the moment we're level 1, and this is going to increase us up to level 2. As we increase our echo ability, we get access to higher tier and stronger echoes. So a lot of the echoes that you would like to get, and you can get very early, are locked until later on in the game because they're just too powerful. And it's like, oh, you need a level 5 or so on to be able to do this. So if you look at Try's tail, they've got 3 little Dorito wedges. So we're going to level up to level 2, and it's going to add a 4th wedge to that. So now we get to use any combination of echoes that have a cost of 4. So some of the echoes that we spawn have a cost of 1 or a cost of 2 or higher. So yeah, anything that is a cost of 2, we can spawn 2 of now, whereas we were only able to spawn 1 of before. And if there's anything as a cost of 1, well, we could spawn 3 before, but now we can spawn 4. So it's really important that we get these level ups to increase the amount that we're able to do. One of the other things with level ups is that also at certain level ups, you get discounts on the cost on certain echoes. Some echoes will start at a cost of 2, and at a certain point in the game, they'll get reduced down to only costing a single echo wedge.
とここで、どなたかに声をかけられます。先ほどですね、裂け目の中で固まっていた人ですね。ハイラル王の側近サダリ大臣と、合流することができました。ここではですね、先ほどインパーには見えて
So yeah, we're going to have a little bit of a cutscene section here. It's not too long. We're going to escort the minister left here to what's called Lubbery's house, and we're going to go there. And this is kind of like a little hub zone there that we will return to at points in the... I think it's going to be basically one single point in the run that we're going to return there, because it's also an upgrade point where we're able to upgrade our sword ability. And we want to, at one point, upgrade our sword all the way to the max level as soon as we can afford it, because max level sword is very strong. There is a trick to skip this section completely if you don't ever plan to upgrade your stuff in a run that you do in like any percent in all dungeons, where you can break out of bounds in that section by wedging yourself between 2 boxes, and you need to play the floor is lava beforehand, and then you respawn at the last tile of ground that you touched. But because we played the floor is lava and then wedge ourselves between 2 boxes, we respawn really far away outside of this like radius of capture around the NPC as they're walking, so we don't get dragged back into the cutscene, and we're able to just run off and explore the world from that point. But as soon as this cutscene is over, we leave the house, and then the world is completely open, and we can go and do anything we want, however we want.
なるほど。心が綺麗とかそういう話じゃないんですね。
違いますね。
なるほど。
ちなみに右側に緑色の変なマシンがあるんですけれども、ここで剣の強化ができます。 剣の強化については、後ほど詳しくタオミさんに説明していただきますので、それまで、お待ちください。
はい。
とここでですね、鳥居に上空を確認していただいて、次に行く目的地、裂け目の場所を
Yeah, so we're being introduced to the first section, or like the next like story section of this part, which is there are two big rifts that have appeared in the world, and we need to go and we need to go and cure those rifts in the world to that's our next objective.
大きめのね裂け目でしたしね、右上の方
そうですね。やっぱ右には
And Glitchless doesn't have any major sequence breaks. We are going to be going and doing those first. However, you can do them in any order, and it is intended for you to do them in absolutely any order. And there is some choice in how you want to approach this, whether or not you do the they are going to be in two different parts of the world. There's going to be one in the desert, in the Gerudo Desert, and then one up in the Zora area, the wetlands. And we always start by going over to the Gerudo area, but you do have an option to halfway through the Gerudo section to go full clear the entirety of the Zora section of it, complete that, and then come back and then do the Gerudo section.
さあさらに左に進んでいきますと砂漠地帯に侵入していきます。
But it's definitely advisable to at least come to the desert area first, because one, we spawn right here, and it's the closest one to come to. But there's also a couple of useful things that we can get here, which is definitely you want to get the stuff beforehand.
すごく余談ではあるんですけども、ここちょっと若干上を通ってるんですけど、下にゲルド族がいるんですけども、こやつらとの、遭遇イベントを上を通ることでスキップしてます。さあ先ほどおっしゃってたオアシスに到着しました。
And during a lot of this section, both the Gerudo section and then also in the Zora section, is we need to go to a specific spot to trigger a story NPC encounter, and then we need to go to somewhere else, and then we have to come back to where we just were. So we are going to be activating these warp points to help cut down the amount of backtracking we're having to do and help optimize things a bit.
潜っちゃいましたけど。
砂の下行っちゃいましたね。
そうですね。
はい。
ゼルダ行こう。ゼルダ行けないのどうしよう。いやちょっと自分でできることが他人に何でもできると思わないでほしいところがあるんですけど。こ
こでですね。
So we're coming and exploring the desert and
そこに裂け目が裂け目の入り口が作れそうなところがあるということで
we are going to be introduced to the main NPC that for this part of the game, and this is Donna. She's one of the Gerudo, and yeah, she just got attacked by these echo enemies, so we just gotta clear them out quickly. This is the first time we saw one of those echo blobs that kind of like flew at us, and then if those blobs hit us and make contact, they spawn into a bunch of enemies, and it's really ideal that we kill the blob before it spawns into enemies. This one, it basically comes out completely even whether or not you kill it before it touches you, or if you intentionally touch it to make it spawn these enemies, because it's basically the first one that we see and we're forced to fight. It spawns a Keese and was it a Tektite? I can't remember what it was, but like they're so weak, we can kill them really quickly, so it doesn't matter which way round. But later on in the game, there's going to be some really tough enemies that spawn from those blobs, but the blobs never change how much health they have, so they are much easier to kill than whatever enemy spawns from them.
なぜか、直通ルート、ショートカットをしたゼルダよりも
So after talking to Donna there, we get to go to the Gerudo town and kick off the main quest for the Gerudo section.
ゲルドの宮殿に到着しました。この真ん中のなんかデザートフォークみたいなのを持っているのが、失礼しました。セラムというゲルド族長ですね。トーナのお母さんです。左側にいるちょっと青っぽい帽子をかぶっているのがセラムという、側近です。
なんか揉めてるみたいですね。
そうですね。ちょっとなんとかゲルドの聖域に行かせてほしいと、トーナがお願いするんですけれども、よそ者は 手助け無用ということで一周されてしまいます。
ああ、まあ、確かにまだペーペーですもんね、ゼルダは。
ということでトーナを追いかけて、オアシスまで来ました。ここでですね、トーナが心の内を話してくれます。今回のセラムとファセット。
Yeah, so as we saw, we activated this warp point earlier, and we just come here because it immediately triggers the next part of this. So
会社の上司の不満を取引先の人に言う図。
ちょっとリスクが多い。
the main conflict that's going on right now is that the Gerudo want to know why why there are rifts appearing, and the advisor to the Queen says to send the troops to investigate, and Donna is concerned because of the desert heat being too tough on them.
この左側にいたゲルド兵
So
士
yeah, we saw that they were exhausted, and we come and save them. And yeah, as we were talking to Donna earlier, she wants us to go and help her soldiers that are spread out throughout the desert. So there's a few that we have to do. There's one down here, which is the quickest to do from the spawn point, but they've been marked on the map as little dots. So there's one over to the far west, and there's one to the north. One of the things that we're going to need to do is, as part of this, we need to give some cactus smoothie to them. So we're going to grab a cactus there and talk to the smoothie guy here to be able to create smoothies. Smoothies are an interesting take on potion making, where you collect these ingredients throughout the world and can use them to make different smoothies with different effects to them. We're not really going to make any smoothies in the run. They are not super necessary. We only need to make them whenever a quest requires us to do so. But they give you some buff and bonus that can help make the game easier. But the game is at a level of difficulty that for speedrunning, they aren't strong enough to make it so worthwhile that we want to use it. Really nice strat there. We grab that big boulder and just drop it on that mole to kill it so that we can capture it as an echo. That mole's going to be we have to use it in this section right here. It's the only way to get through here. Makes a hole so we can drop down. I can't remember if there's a single other use of that mole in the run. I believe that is only it, and maybe there is one other section I can't remember off the top of my head much later on. But this is the second of the Gerudo soldiers that we had to rescue.
あれ、消えましたね。なんかしれっと
Yeah, these rifts, they may look like just like holes in the ground that is like, oh, you can just jump over them, right? No, they are big invisible walls. Like everywhere you see like the bright pink edging around the the edge of it is like a big vertical invisible wall going up into the up like infinitely high. There is no getting through them. You have to get around them.
兵士たちがいます。先ほど作った、サボテンスムージーを、与えます。
So Donna at this point is like, my troops here are dehydrated. Can you take this cactus and go make a cactus smoothie for them? But we already did make a cactus smoothie, so we don't have to do any backtracking here. We just just hand over the cactus smoothie that we made, and that is all of the Gerudo soldiers saved. We do it in this way around so that we can. The next section we need to go to is in the Gerudo town, and we are right outside the town. So we can just run directly up to the throne room and continue on with the story.
というかに侵入できるんでしょうねきっと。
正確に言うと実は閉じてないんですけど
まあまあまあ、
閉じたという体で今から報告します。
確かに開いてましたねあれ。
はい、なんか入り口が見つからないということで閉じてはないんですけども閉じましたって今報告してます。
ああ先にね、結果だけ伝え閉じますってことですね。
そうですね。
はい。
そうしましたらなんと、族長のセラムはそんなに言うならということで、はい、ゲルドの聖域に行くことを許してくれます。
ありがたいですね。
ただ側近のファセットがなぜか最後までいや閉じない方がいいみたいな感じで言ってるんですけど、なんででしょうね。
なんでですかね。ちょっと何やら深いわけがあるようなないような。
本当に。とここで何やら問題が発生したようです。また別のゲルド砂漠の別の地域で大きな裂け目が発生してしまって何人か、飲み込まれてしまったということでみんなで救助しに行きます。
Yeah, so at this point, a big rift was discovered over in the east side of the Garuda Desert, where we entered. There's a big marker on the map there, and we're going to put a hold on things for the Garuda section. That's all we wanted to do, and now we're going to warp to this warp point that we activated earlier on, just before the first dungeon, because now we're going to do the other half of the main section of what we need to do in the game at this point, which is the Zora section. So now for some overworld reversal. We're gonna skip completely over this big cliff face here and land in Faron woods, and this section we do not need to do anything in until much later in the game, but we are going to set up a couple of things first. So there's some warp points that we want to activate, and this just happens to be the fastest line. If you go on a direct line from here to the Zora area, this is not too far out of the way. It's a little bit out of the way, but it makes the most routing sense to come and activate that warp point there, because when we need to come here later on in the game, it would be very slow to be able to have to traverse all the way over here. So this is just the best time optimizing way of doing this. And yeah, there's a lot of bed architecture involved in this, of building these staircases up so that we can traverse over these big walls and cliff faces. So that's they absolutely intended for those tree lines and stuff to be so tall that at the start of the game you don't have a hope of being able to get over the top of them. You don't have enough echo abilities and stuff. But later on in the game, once you've leveled up and you've got loads of wedges added up, and you've got lots of abilities, and you've found so many echoes, you can absolutely make your way over the top of all of these, and it opens the game up a lot more. But now we've entered the Zora Sea, and we're going to activate the warp points here, because just like with the Gerudo section, there's going to be a lot of back and forth, so it's really important just to activate the warp points, and then activate the story cutscenes, and then just warp your way between them. It's much faster than traversing the overworld.
進める場所がちょっと限られてきてしまうというだけで、みんなすごく仲良く暮らしています。
もうマジの住み分けですね。
そうですね。
よかったです。すみません、ちょっと僕の心が汚かっただけです。
また別のゼルダ作品ですと川ゾーラが敵としてね出てくる作品もあったりしますけれども、今回はね
I'm just watching this and it's absurd to me how much you can do with just beds and trampolines.
そうですね。やっぱ仲良くするのが一番なんで。
はい。
It's really fun. Like, yeah, so watching, even like in a casual perspective, like when people play the game for the first time, so many people gravitate towards, I'm just going to use beds for everything, beds and trampolines. There are sometimes too many tools in the toolbox of how do I solve this problem, so you kind of gravitate towards your favorites and just use them the most. And well, if you get beds and trampolines right at the beginning, you use them the most, so they become your favorites.
村人1、2がですね、登場しまして、
Also, I did not have chat up, but I have it open now. I saw someone ask the question of how much time does Japanese save over over English. It's hard to say. However, Japanese is basically the same speed as German. Mainly for the reason that Japanese displays less characters on screen, so there's, in some instances, less text boxes and less text that has to display on screen, so the text boxes advance faster. But also because in German, every time you activate a wind crest or a warp point, sorry, I keep calling them wind crests, and I come from Minish Cap. I'm a Minish Cap speedrunner, so the fast travel points in that game are wind crests. So I'm forever calling these wind crests when they're just warp points. But yeah, in German, every time you activate one of them, the text box that appears only displays one single text box and then it closes right away. In every other language, there's 2 text boxes, so you just save a text box for free if you're playing on German, and that's the major difference that makes German a lot faster than other languages. But because Japanese already has like a speed advantage, it comes out to basically even, and every category has ever so slight variations and differences which slightly increase and decrease the amount that it makes it really difficult to say which one is faster. So we just say German and Japanese are basically the same speed. Chinese as well is pretty much on there. English is slow and French is slow. That's all I can say. I really can't say how much slower they are. In Glitchless, probably completely wrong, but I don't think it's more than 30 seconds, if that.
ここで、海ゾーラ族長の空車のところにやってきました。側近の名前はログマ。
But Glitchless is one of the longest categories with the most text boxes, so it's because it's like 4 hours. The other categories don't. They're not as long, except for 100%. If you're playing 100%, definitely don't play in English. You're going to be losing a lot of time. Luckily, it's a Switch game, so you can just change your language in the menu, and it will just change it for anyone. So you don't need to go out of your way to find a Japanese copy of the game. You can be playing on your US or European or whatever copy of the game on any region Switch, and just go to the options menu and change the language.
喧嘩しているところに遭遇します。何やらですね、お互いの、演奏ですね。ドラッドは管楽器、空車はハープ奏者なんですけれども、お互いの演奏にケチをつけてしまったということで、大喧嘩をしています。ここでどっちの演奏が素晴らしいかの、バトルが開始されます。
エクストリームミュージックバトルですね、これは。さあ、果たしてどちらが勝つのか。
So we're in the Zora area, and the story here is the two leaders, the leader of the River Zoras in the north, and the leader of the Sea Zoras in the south can't get along, and they both have the musical instruments that they play, and they had an epic music battle there, and they both felt like they came out on top of the other one, and they need to learn to set aside the differences and work together. So this is Jabu Jabu, their guardian, and something's going wrong with Jabu Jabu because they're normally they're normally not dangerous, and now they're going around destroying sections of the Zora's homes, and yeah, each of the two Zora leaders had their second in command just like a
先日時のオカリナの RTA ありましたので、
captured by Jabu Jabu.
攻略はもう頭に入ってると思うから、まあ、すぐ脱出できるんじゃないですかね、もしかして。
So yeah, this section's going to be a lot of just chasing around after these two as they run around the Zora section. So we're going to head up over to the north.
ということで、はい、
あ、どうぞ。
様子のおかしい、ジャブジャブ様、実は各地で暴れ回っているそうで、ぐわーってね今言ってますけど、はい、ジャブジャブ様、各地でゾーラの住宅を破壊しながら回って上昇していて、今破壊した家
Yeah, and we see here some of the ruins of Jabu Jabu just came through. And this is going to be another stilled realm, just like we saw before the first dungeon. These aren't just before dungeons, but they can appear at sections in the overworld. And there's always at least one that we have to completely clear out before you're able to get to the main dungeon in a region of the world. So there's going to be a lot of these stilled realms that we're going to be clearing to advance the story. So yeah, try open it up and we jump on in.
今回はミニマップですね。このゲームですね。
It's really cool seeing some of the frozen entities and objects from this section of the game world stored here, and they're always arranged into interesting puzzles. So this. Yeah, there's the Zora River leader who's been who fell into the rift and is petrified. So we're gonna have to clear this section to save him. But the aim of this these stilled realms is that there are these orbs scattered around, and we have to collect every single one. So because they're all in like a scattered, like they're in known positions, we know exactly where they are. But it then becomes like a traveling salesman problem of like, okay, how do we route this out to get from one to the next and get every single one of them as quickly as possible? So there's a lot of fun figuring out how we do this. This stilled realm in particular is kind of easy to figure out because this one is always going to be last because it's down in a cave and there's 3 that's not in the cave. So it's like, okay, so we'll just grab the other ones and then come into here last. Very nicely there there's a bomb fish, and bomb fishes are really useful because, well, it's a bomb and it explodes. So this is our first chance to use we now have access to bombs, so we can blow up stuff for the first time. So there was one of those orbs down the bottom that we had to use the bomb fish to activate. So we did need to actually capture one there, and then one of them was trapped inside of a tektite there, and we just grab the tektite and drown it, and then that gives it to us, and that is all of them collected. So that's that section done. Very cool stuff. That section can be a little bit tricky in that cave because of the fish that's there. If you're unlucky, it can just like move into a position where you basically can't get past it, and it will start chasing after you the whole time, and just hits you and bullies you and stops you from being able to do that section quickly. So yeah, that went really well. So just like for defeating a dungeon, we get some experience, but we don't get enough to do a full level up. There are going to be various other ones that we're going to be doing, so we'll eventually manage to accumulate a whole level up, like we've cleared an entire extra dungeon for free later on in the run.
戻ってきました。左側で何やらブルブル震えている川ゾーラがいます。族長同士はなんかまだね喧嘩中みたいな感じですけれども。
喧嘩が怖いんですかね。違うみたいですね。
ちょっとパニック状態ですね。裂け目にやはり飲み込まれて怖い思いしてしまったので、パニック状態に。
Yeah, unfortunately, this Zora here was
癒していきます。
scared and
やっぱり まあ、ゼルダシリーズにおいて楽器っていうのは、まあ、不思議な力が
The Sea Zora
まあ宿りがちですよね。
leader plays the harp to calm their
不思議な
nerves
力
and
が宿りがちですよね。すいません、一人で何笑ってる
return
んです
to
か。
normal.
ということで、はい、ハープの演奏で、
And that's one of the character moments that helps the Zora leaders like come a little bit closer together. And yeah, throughout this section, we're just going to see their dynamic and their change as they learn to like help each other out and respect each
子
other.
供のゾーラが取り残されてしまったという事故が発生してしまったようです。これもやっぱりジャブジャブ様が暴れ回っているせいでなのでしょうか。
そうですね。やっぱ
Welcome in, Raiders. We have Echoes of Wisdom, Glitchless, being run at RTA Japan.
のが
We're running the English restream of the event. We got Naoto, a Echoes of Wisdom speedrunner who is performing the run live.
ゼルダ姫が早くワープしてきたので1着だと思う。
They are currently second place in the Glitchless category. So it's this is a
住み
really
分けと
sick
言って
run.
ましたが、別に川ゾーラは海泳げそうですし、海ゾーラも川泳げそうですね。
本当ですね。
ちょっと
呼吸は大丈夫なのでしょうか。
触れないようにします。根深い問題かもしれないので。
Right now, we've got quite a few cutscenes and stuff happening. We got a little bit of a gameplay section here. We're going to go down into this cave. So this cave is completely dark, and it you get a hang of being able to like swim through here in the darkness. Yeah, there we go. It's going all claustrophobic, but we know our way through here. You can kill that that fish with the light on it, so that you able to know where you need to go to get through that section. But we don't need it. There's not really anywhere else that you would have to use that. If I vaguely recall, there are some in the upcoming dungeon that you would have to use that to go through. However, the next dungeon coming up is going to be extremely fast because there are huge skips that we are able to do in that, which don't involve any glitches whatsoever. It's just the designers made this dungeon so very open and so easy for you to just go directly to the end and skip everything. But that is this section done. So now we've got the next story cutscene with the Zora leaders. They are instead we have the things are round the other way, where earlier one of the River Zora was in danger, and the River Zora leader went to try and rescue them, but had to be aided by the Sea Zora leader. But now the things are the other way around.
私たちは手助けをしただけかもしれない。
And the
最後の一撃を仕留めただけの可能性もあるので。
the Sea Zora child was scared, and
怖がっていた子供のゾーラに
after hearing that piece of music, they got
させてあげました。
courage restored to them.
これを聞いた空者もやっぱり、ドラッドの演奏はいい演奏だなと相手を認める、そんないいシーンとなっております。
So now there's not too much left
やはり
before they head over to the next dungeon. There is we're going to head over to the entrance of the next dungeon, and there's going to be some stuff to do before we head directly in. There's more story stuff that happens, but yeah, we'll be able to go to one of the most interesting parts of the glitchless category, in my opinion, is the this whole water dungeon. It's so awesome. If you've never seen a speedrun of this game and you've only played it casually and like, oh, I'm sure that like it was fun like exploring all of these things, but you get to see how open the design of this game is, and with how we skip the stuff, because none of it is glitched, and I'm sure that the designers at Nintendo had some idea of maybe someone can do this to like skip this and to do this quickly or whatever, but
とここでですね、ジャブジャブ様が暴れているせいで、舞台がですね、瓦礫に埋もれている。
Yeah, so here's a little, just a small puzzle. We have some
指示があります。
なるほど。
some rubble fell on these things here that we just need to clear off and out of the way. But also this thing broke, and we have to go and
ちなみにこの続調は
restore some of the pieces. That was a really interesting time save that that someone in the community found, that you don't need to dive down into the water and swim back up with the piece. You can just grab it, and then if you just like keep jumping away at max distance, it kind of like slides against the edge of the pool of water and pops up out of the top. And yeah, not having to just go down into the water is just helps save like a second or so. In Glitchless, you're never going to have huge discoveries that are going to save like minutes or anything like that. We're always just going to be finding these like slightly more optimal things that save a second here, second hit there. But the run is just long enough that you get enough of them that you're able to end up saving minutes.
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
はい、
やればできるじゃないですか。
ということで扉が開きましたね。どういう仕組みなんでしょうか。
Yeah, they've managed to work out their differences and respect each other enough so they can play the music
さっきの演奏と同じなのに
together and open up their.
言ってるシーンなんですけど。
They had to be able to play music together and work together to be able to open this door. So now we can go into Jabu Jabu's lair and find out what's wrong with them.
序盤から終盤にかけてどんどん。
そうですね。可愛らしさが増していくんで。
とここで
And there is a rift in Jabu Jabu's den here. There, that is. Yes, that they are definitely not supposed to have red eyes there.
接してたようです。この後は、偽物だと分かりましたので、ゼルダ姫に何とかしてほしいと、依頼がされます。
さあ、すべてぶっ飛ばしていきましょ
So
う。
just like we saw earlier on, there's this is absolutely an imposter, one of the fake
敵キャラだけウニで処理していきます。
enemies. So we have a pretty decent quick kill here. We have to stand in quite a precise spot there, activate the sword form, and then do a combination of sword slashes and spin attacks to do the right amount of damage,
第2段階に
so that we triggered this. And
最初に敵を吐き出して
yeah, we didn't quite do enough damage there to be able to do it in one cycle. It is possible to do it in one cycle. We also spawned a couple of like echo like urchins to be able to try and kill
攻
it.
撃が当たるのでひたすら剣攻撃を当てて撃破で
Yeah,
す。
and there we go. There's the kill.
さあ、無事にジャブジャブ様撃破したところ、飲み込まれていた進化たちが、救出されました。まあ、ダンジョンを攻略するより、私たちが助ける方が早かったということで
よかったです。
もう少し精進してください。
で左側ドラットと、イナマというねキャラクターがいて。
So yeah, their advisors got rescued, and yeah, we
ありがとうご
all
ざいます
Jabu, and that was yeah, they were an imposter. So now there's another rift is present there. So we're gonna head on in, and this is the stilled realm for the dungeon.
今度は
So
裂け目を閉じていく作業が始まります。
はい。
as we saw with the first dungeon, we're going to enter the stilled realm, and it's a little like rift section with some some platforming sections and a couple of enemies. That is going to lead up to the dungeon entrance, and then we're going to go into the dungeon proper and do it. Now there's a big trick here. This is
トッピュを出して
This is a pot launch. So we bind ourselves to a pot, and we are like this is very precise and very tricky. But
この水の塊はですね、通常プレイ
if you get inside a pot and do it, grab it in a very precise way and use tornadoes in a very precise way, we know exactly how it's going to fly through the air, and that was very well done.
吹っ飛ばすっていう能力を持っているので
Yeah, that is
Gosh, you could just fly.
Yeah, it was really tricky figuring out how that interaction worked, because we kind of knew that, oh, we can use this tornado that we grabbed in the Gerudo area to be able to launch objects, but it seemed random, except it's not. And we figured out how it works, and as long as we get in and out of the pot, and that if we ever, like, we always do it from the same starting point, it's always going to fly in the same way. But if we basically have to do like a save and quit and reset everything in the room exactly into the right, like from the same starting point in order for it to be consistent. If we fly some pots off in some other direction and then try and do it, the flying directions are all going to be different. So here is there was more skips that happened there. During the first corridor, we put down a bed and then jumped across it, because there is a trigger there that as you're walking through, the floor collapses out from under you, and then there's a huge section of the dungeon that you have to do. It's massive. It's basically like half the dungeon, and we just completely skipped all of it and got to the second half of the dungeon. And then in the main area of the dungeon, you're supposed to go to various different rooms to activate water levels to raise them up to be able to eventually get up to this point. But we just used beds and the Strangula to get all the way here just to grab the boss key, and that's all you need, because this is one of those dungeons where it's like, hey, look, the boss is right here at the entrance, but you're gonna have to work your way through the dungeon to eventually get to that point. Except, well, we can just go grab the boss key and go directly into the boss, and that's the entire dungeon skipped, and now it's the boss. That's kind of the biggest things that we can do here in Glitchless, just completely breaking this dungeon.
You know what? Sure.
それを使って悪さをすることができたりします。というわけでボス渦呼び戦ですね。背中のブツブツを破壊した後に通常斬り2回プラス回転斬り1回、これを1セットとして攻撃を与え続けていきます。
So this is Bokavorth, and it's a tricky boss at first to understand, but luckily you can get it mostly consistent once you get some practice with it. And yeah, lovely stuff. You want to keep it just pinned in this spot here, and then just keep swimming to it and hitting it, and perfect fight. Yeah, well done. Yeah, that's great stuff. That boss can easily snowball out of control if you don't get a quick kill like that, because if it ends up swimming away, it does a big collapse around the room, and then there are some cycles where it is not in the water, it's like in the air when the water like drains away, and then you don't have an easy way of doing damage to it, and the fight can take a really long time, but we just get a perfect quick kill there. Yeah, that was cool to see.
取りレベルが大幅に上昇します。なんかもう気づいたら1時間ぐらい喋りっぱなしなんですね。あっという間ですね。まあこのカテゴリーまだ3時間45分が EST なので、まだ3分の1が終わったところということでまだまだたくさん喋れますので。
1時間走られてどうですか、直人さん。
いや、まあ全然余裕です。はい、僕は
余裕みたいです右に出る者がいないので
さすがに。
So in some of the other categories, like all dungeons, and we have two different all dungeons categories. We have a restricted and unrestricted versions of them, because in unrestricted all dungeons, you just do a wrong walk directly to the end of the dungeon, and well, what that entails is for this dungeon, it's like, oh, that main room before we go and get the boss key, there is just a warp point there, and we just warp to that warp point, and then from there, go get the boss key, do the fight, done. In the restricted all dungeons category, the restrictions we put on that category is you can't just warp to the end of a dungeon. You have to warp to the entrance or just before the entrance and enter the dungeon through the main entrance and then do the dungeon. And without warping, doing a wrong warp into a later part of it. So that does involve us wrong warping to the bit where, like, before the pot launch, just like we did here. So in the all dungeons restricted category, you also need to do the pot launch, just like we do in Glitchless, to be able to get into the dungeon and do it. So those categories do quite similar stuff to what we saw here in Glitchless, but don't have to do all of the story sections and the stilled realms and unlocking the point and fighting Jabu Jabu as well. Like, all of that stuff is unique to Glitchless.
大演奏会が行われます。それではまた、素晴らしい音楽をお楽しみください。
全身で楽しみましょう。どうします？右から。
And yeah, peace is being restored to the Zora area, so everyone's celebrating.
若干慣れない気がしますけど。
ああ、いいですね。
皆さんありがとうございます。
完璧ですね。この一体感。でも入れとく。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
ちなみにタオミさん、この素晴らしい演奏はエニーパーセントで見られますか？
いいえ。まあちょっと話がそれるんですけど、エニーパーセントにおいてはイベントの9割5分カットされます。ので、もうほぼほぼイベントシーンを見ることなく、ラスボスに挑むことになるので、こういった感動的なイベントを見ることはできません。悲しいですね。
悲しいですね。
はい。
So just like when we did the first dungeon and we rescued the
ウギ将軍という人が
the minister
冒頭で
who's one of the
左側に立っていた
one of the people with the king of Hyrule that fell into the rift right at the beginning of the game. The general also was captured as well, and this is the part where we rescued him.
まさに右往左往ってことですね。
続いてですね、
So he's gonna also go to Lubbery's house, and we are now going to go to Lubbery's house. One of the other things that we also get for not only completing the dungeons, but also doing some other things like finding them in the overworld, is these mysterious crystals. And we are going to use the crystals as the currency to upgrade our equipment. So we go up to this machine, and this is the sword upgrade, and this is going to upgrade our sword to level 2, and it's going to increase our damage on the sword, which is handy. Like, it's really useful to do the sword upgrade, and it's just a quick pit stop before heading on to the Gerudo section. There are 3 levels in total, so we are going to get another one. The third one is the really powerful upgrade, and that gives us a sword beam as well. And one of the really nice things about that sword beam is that if you're in melee range of an enemy, and just like in every other Zelda game, like, the sword beam only activates if you're on full health, so you want to be on full health when you're using it. But when you sword slash an enemy in melee range, both the sword slash and the sword beam both do damage to the enemy at the same time. So you basically double the base damage of the sword. But also the level 3 sword is just even more powerful than the the level 2 sword. I can't remember the exact damage values off the top of my head, but the level 1 sword, the level 3 sword is exactly double the damage of the level 1 sword. No, sorry, I'm thinking about the wrong game. The level 2 sword is double the damage of the level 1 sword, and the level 3 sword is, again, the level 1 sword's damage added up. It's just 1 times, 2 times, and 3 times for the level increases. So yeah, that 3 times the base sword damage, then doubled because you're doing a sword beam and a sword slash 6 times. That is a massive amount of damage, and we really want to make use of those later in the run. It helps make some of the fights really easy. So yeah, we got a steel drum in the Gerudo area. We are going to be using these the water blocks. This was one of the main reasons why we wanted to go do the Jibble water section of the game, the Zora section, is getting those water blocks. Those water blocks help a lot with traversal and help speed the section up a lot.
素晴らしいですね。
素晴らしいですね。このスピンジャンプと勝手に呼んでるんですけども、なんかスピンを出した後
Yeah, one of the best ways of gaining vertical height is just stacking up water blocks and then just swimming up them. Water blocks are really handy as that you don't just have to place them on solid ground. You can attach them to the side of walls and they just stick there, and you can extend them out in all directions. They're really flexible in how you want to use them, so it makes it really versatile and a great echo to have.
さあ、メガドンという敵に真空を
And yeah, that's that.
降ってこないように
That stilled realm
決めの仲間を救出していきます。さあ、ここの裂け目もスムーズに閉じることができました。さあ、ここもミニマップなのでトリのレベルは、上昇、トリのレベルが上昇するんですけども、レベル自体は確か上がらないぐらいの経験値になります。先ほども言ったんですけど、正直借り物レベルはそこまで大きな影響はないので、RTA においてはほぼほぼ休憩ポイントかつ無駄ポイントであるのかなと思ってたりします。かけらだけはこの後使用する用途があるので、かけらだけは絶対に回収しなきゃいけないんですが、前半のトリックの成長はあまり見守る必要はないかなといったところです。さあ、元の世界に戻ってきました。
これ右上になんかいますね。
あれ？おかしいな。
But yeah, jumping back to the story now of what was happening in the Gerudo section before we went over to the Zora.
あれ？
There are two of this person. This is Flacette? Flechette? I believe their name was. Yeah, there's one of these two is an imposter.
2でも同じ現象を見た気がするんですけど、もしかしてこれもフラグが変とかそういう話ですか？
ドッペルゲンガー流行ってます。
そうですね。今この会場ではドッペルゲンガーが絶賛大ブームかもしれないです。という
ことでセラムの一振りで偽物のファセットがチリとなりました。
お強いですね。一撃で仕留めました。
セラムは借り物として使うことはできないんでしょうか？
まあ要相談ですね。
So with that section of the Gerudo Desert cleared up, we have we're not going to be able to get into the next dungeon immediately. There is a small amount that we're going to have to do.
というふうに言って、
there's a little section of there's like a little mini dungeon that we're going to do first, so we're just going to head over to it now.
うまく行動を阻害できるか分かってるという。
I say mini dungeon, it's just this cave.
手口が巧妙ですね。
そうですね。なかなかパワープレイではない
But this cave is there's some really useful echoes in here that are going to be helpful for the rest of the run. So it is it's going to be in a couple rooms time, but here here it is. So these path blades, those path blades are super handy for fast traversal, and we're gonna make sure we grab one of those. This is basically the only section of the game that has them, but also save and quits. That's kind of the first time that we've had to do one, but we're definitely going to be making much more use of them, and it lends a lot to the if you've played this on Switch 1 and are now playing it on Switch 2, you're going to notice a massive increase in the speed of loads and saving. And it's a huge advantage to be playing on Switch 2. And this is being played on Switch 2. But it just lets us walk back to the beginning of a section. And yeah, we got that path blade. That's super nice to have. And then just a nice use of the echoes there, the tornado echo, just to clear that dust out of the way and make our way up and around these enemies. That is that was a level 2 Gibdo there, and you're supposed to kill it, but we can just jump over it and ignore it. It's a kind of a tough enemy, and we don't want to waste time trying to fight and kill it. It's not even a good enemy to have as an echo, so we don't want to have it. And then we just do a save and quit, and or save and load, and we're back at the beginning of the section and carry on.
ポリ君がさっき砂の中に潜って見つけた入り口が、ゼルダでも入れるようになりましたので、ゲルドの聖域の無を攻略していきます。
So with that done, we opened up the main entrance to this to the dungeon. So this is the Gerudo Sanctum is this dungeon. It is the third dungeon. This dungeon is structured a little bit differently. As I mentioned before, that you have a stilled realm that you have to traverse and get to the dungeon entrance from. The dungeon entrance is just there, and you just go into it, and now we're inside the dungeon immediately. But there is a stilled realm. It just happens to be in the middle of the dungeon, which is fairly interesting. One of very importantly there, that room over on the left, we just go in just to capture another one of the really useful traversal echoes that we're going to have in the run, and that is Flying Tile. Flying Tile is fantastic. I used it a lot in my casual playthrough, but in Glitchless, it's very special because there is some cool strats and tech that we can use to create infinite staircases, but it does require a precise combination of inputs of jump placing the flying tiles. We jump off of tile and place a new one before we land on it. If you mess up the timing until you fall down. That's another really awesome fight there. We spawn these water blocks and just drown the enemies inside them. That is not going to be the only time that we use the water blocks for that purpose. We are going to be using that strat of drowning enemies quite often throughout the run.
移動にも便利、敵と戦う時も便利といったところで、かなり優秀な借り物と言っても過言ではありません。さあ、しるべを開けて先に進んでいきます。ここでまたイベント戦、ポウ戦ですね。ポウ君はなんか自分で出した炎に対してシンクで。
So here's the Poe fight. That's a nice and creative quick kill that we have. That guy throws a fire patch down, and we can just grab him and pull him into the fire patch that it spawns. And
さあ、
He ends up
リ
killing
ンクの
himself.
人影を追いかけて先に進んで
The
いきますが、向かう先は全然別
and also this section here is you're supposed to go up and around and follow Link that way, and we'll just skip all of
さあ
that.
ここでゆかび
Just,
も大活躍
this is the Stilled Realm section of the dungeon, and yeah, it's located halfway through the dungeon, and we're just gonna
鷹の
beeline our way in a straight line directly to what we need. This dungeon has basically 4 keys that are treated as echoes, or echoes that are treated as keys, to be able to unlock the section where the boss is located. We need to go to various parts of the dungeon to find these statues and then return back to the middle section. So we activated a warp point a little bit earlier, but we captured both.
さあここで
We captured the eagle statue, and there's one more statue we need to collect. But we have a mini boss right now. This is Link. Bow Link. He has the his bow, and he's going to be shooting arrows at us.
変貌してさらに
And
襲いかかってきます
there are various different strats for approaching this. Some I think it's Glubblers came up with a really awesome strat for this earlier.
当てていきましょう基本的に
I want to say earlier today, but it might have been yesterday, using using bombs. But in Glitchless, we don't have the bombs yet, so we make use of the fact that Link is a little dummy, and we put down a tornado, and he's so distracted with the tornado trying to shoot it that we get to just run up to him and do a spin attack, and our level 2 sword with a spin attack is enough to one hit kill the Link clones.
借り戻して襲いかかってきます
And yeah, we are rewarded with a bow that we just skip because the bow isn't useful.
水の塊を使って水中で検証を行いながら黒い雨
It has a little bit of damage to it. You can spend some.
さあここで皆さん大事な象の
You can upgrade it so it's a little bit better, but it's not amazing. And the level 3 sword is far superior, so we wouldn't want to waste any of our crystals or time upgrading that sword or the bow, so it just makes sense to completely skip it. There aren't any puzzles that require you to use a bow to shoot something. Puzzles always require an echo to
これ左と右は確かどちらでも良かったはず
So yeah, that's we found the elephant and the eagle statues there. Put them on those there to open up this section. So we've revealed the boss door, and down here we have the big key. So it's just we're in the next room over. So we're just going to go into this room, open the boss key, and then go into the boss fight.
ちょうど隣の部屋がですね先ほど見えた部屋でありますのでギミックを解いていきます脳トレですねこれは
So this puzzle is just it's quite a simple puzzle. We just got to rotate those blocks around so they line up and drop down. What's really fun is that in the in the all dungeons one we have well I'll talk about that a little bit after this boss fight. So this boss this one's a little bit awkward. You can end up getting some extra cycles quite easily, but yeah, this guy ideally you get that first cycle with the right amount of sword slashes and spin attacks. You can advance to this stage without it doing that like a spinning rotation, but it's easy for you to not it's quite tight to get the timing to get enough damage to advance to the right cycle. So yeah, we need to pull it with the bind ability, then we're going to place down a statue and bonk it. There we go. And now we activate sword, and if the timing's right, just missed out on the quick kill there. So we're going to try and use the bind ability again to pull it. And yeah, bait it to drop down, hit that, and then...
2セット目当てて撃破かな。はい。
Oh yeah, that's right. That one isn't a possible like one cycle. That one's two cycle, but that's yeah. No, that the second half of that fight was really good. That was the intended way that you're supposed to get that. That second phase is definitely a two cycle, and we skipped having to do any of the additional. There are some things that really slow that down. So yeah, that was nicely done in the second half.
イベントが入って裂け目を閉じていきます。
This boss fight is a tricky one because, well, I'm not the most familiar with it because of the fact that it's basically one of the only boss fights that we're able to skip. And we skip it in the All Dungeons run. In All Dungeons Unrestricted.
喉がカラカラでしょう。
It just happens to turn out that when you complete one of the later dungeons, it happens to trigger the flag for this dungeon to have its exit dungeon warp point spawn like available. So right now there's the warp point on the other side of the heart container that you can just go up to and press A, and it will trigger you leaving the dungeon and activating. Oh, you've completed the dungeon. And like all of the implications of what happens after you complete this dungeon occur just by going to that. So in the All Dungeons run, we go and activate this thing early, come in, and the boss is there and wants to fight us, and we just ignore him, come up to this, activate this, and it's like, yeah, you beat the dungeon, and you just ignore the boss. As he's trying to attack you whilst this is going on, and it's funny. But yeah, we just skip the boss by doing that. So this ends up not being a boss that people are familiar with fighting, especially if you only run any percent and All Dungeons Unrestricted.
この後は平和になった、ゲルドの、ゲルド砂漠を、祝してですね。
And yeah, speaking of all dungeons, when you're doing this dungeon, we warp to the warp point that is located directly outside of the boss room. And when you wrong warp into that spot, you're only ever supposed to be able to interact with that warp point after you've drained all of the sand away. But if you wrong warp in there, the sand is in the room filled up to the to the high elevation point, and you spawn in underneath the sand, and you're like stuck sort of out of bounds, but we immediately drop down into a lower room, and it's completely dark, and the sand is like completely obscuring all of your vision, so you can't see anything as you're trying to solve the puzzle for unlocking the boss key, the one with the spinning contraption. You're trying to do that completely blind because you can't see anything, because you just see sand. That's a fun room to learn to do essentially blindfolded.
脱獄しましたので、ずっと指名手配中なんですね。はい。でルーベリのはい、ルーベリの
And yeah, we have accomplished the main quest section of this part of the game, which was go and clear those two dungeons. We've done that. And now we're told to go to Hyrule Castle. So we're going to be using the path blade that we acquired before the dungeon. It's very cool. There's different combinations of things that you can do with the path blade, but it's so fast. Look at this, we're just zooming. The path blade we can both stand on and we can bind. There's some nice strat there where you use the bind because it wants to go. Normally it goes in a complete straight line in the direction that you spawn it, but since we bind it and then we do the reverse bind, so it flies along and we're bounce to it as we get dragged along with it, we can then unreverse bind and just do like regular bind so that we then control it. We move a little bit to the side and then we reactivate and just to readjust its position so it doesn't fly into a wall and it flies into this trigger. Some really cool strats, and yeah, we're going to be using the path blade quite a bit more, especially in this next dungeon. There's really fun strats to zoom through sections and it's great having Path Blade available. We're not going to use it for the absolute rest of the run, but there are really nice sections that we get to use it for. And it's not the most powerful movement ability we're going to get in terms of speed. There are going to be some slightly faster ones, and we're going to get one of the things that's required for that in this next dungeon.
守るぞというね姿勢に正されるという非常にいいシーンですね。
そうですね。
So if you run directly forwards, you hit a trigger that spawns a bunch of enemies, and like it's quite slow. It's like a little cutscene that plays. So we're running around the edge of this section right now. We do not want to touch the ground. If you touch the ground, you trigger it. We just completely skip it and hit the well and drop down into it. And this is the spawn point for the entering the Stilled Realm for Hyrule Castle. We are going to have a little bit of a Stilled Realm section here, which is it's probably one of the shortest Stilled Realm sections, but we are going to show off why we got the flying tile. We are going to be doing infinite staircases with the flying tile. Oh, it's so tricky. It's so easy to ever so slightly time one of your echo jumps, and as soon as you do a single one wrong, let's say you fall down. But yeah, that's great.
はい、これで OK です。
Yeah, just getting up to that section is tricky. If you're really confident, you can make it all the way up to here, but it's tough.
ほぼすべてのこの無のステージギミック
It's such a precise time. You have almost no wiggle room in terms of how
本当にね通常プレイでも床分は本当
how
に
lenient there it is to time your jumps there. You have to do so many in a row. It's just so easy
これが
to
できてしまうようになるので気になった方はぜひ練習してみて
mess
く
that
だ
up.
さい。
Yeah, more Path Blade. There is it. That was a level 2 Dark Nut. We saw a
ローですね
level 1 Dark Nut in the first dungeon.
横スクロールはタイムカットです
Yeah, lovely Path Blade strats here. Just really cool stuff.
さあ飲み込まれちゃったんです
イン
ね
パです。
Yeah, you are cutting it close in that section because any one of those guards, if they come and grab you, they capture you and you get sent to a
受け身に飲み込まれてしまったようですまあ他人のね
you get sent to the Shadow Realm and you have to fight your way
を
out
スルーしていきます
of like a little mini fight, and then you get respawned back to before the room. That's quite a long room as well with a lot of guards that can come and capture you.
塊を使って
This is a really nice like mini. It's not exactly like a mini boss, but like it's a little fight room at the end of the first half of this dungeon, and we want to grab a level 2 Dark Nut there.
敵と戦う時とか
That
に
is a force. Like you have to kill that level 2 Dark Knight in order to be able to open the door to be able to continue on. And sometimes we just like to grab these higher level enemies to make the section a little bit
遠くに出す
easier.
借り物を遠くに出すため借り物ちょっと正式な名前ないと思うんですけどギミックを使ってひたすら食材に火をつけていきます
Really cool echo strats there with the Ignazol. Ignachad, we like to call him. Just end up killing the using it to light all of those torches in a cool and interesting way. Yeah, that level 2 Dark Nut helps us kill that Gust Master. That Gust Master is very important. That is one of the things that is going to let us do some really fast speed tech. We're going to be able to go fast and it's that's really important for us to grab. This is one of the tricky rooms, and yeah, it's gonna we're going for the safe strats here. Those Tektites jumping around all over the place, the RNG involved with them, they can easily come and hit you and make you fall down. They are a massive pain, but luckily the flying tile helps make that room a lot faster.
ここでロードリセットですね
So yeah, we do a save and quit there, and just respawn back at the warp point that we activate.
ここもですね
So we just did that to go and get small key. We're right by the boss door, so we just need to go and get the boss key, and it's over in this section, but we needed a boss key first. So the cool little strat we can do in this room, just ride the flying tile. Normally we get blown off of it, but if we bind ourselves to the flying tile as it goes across, we don't get blown off the flying tile. So we can make it to the other side and skip that section. And yeah, the Gust Master there doesn't make it easy. So here's another fight. We've got this time there's a chain soldier. And yeah, we make quick work of that, just using one of our level 2 Dark Nuts to take out one of the other Dark Nuts on the side and use Spin Attack. Nice little upgrade here. We get the Frog Ring. So one of the mechanics in this game is you can get equipment, and you can equip it to get some upgrades. So we equipped the Frog Ring there. What the Frog Ring does is it doubles our jump height. So instead of being able to jump only high enough to get on a table or a bed, we are able to jump even like twice as high, so like a double stacked table and bed. Basically the height of like a big boulder, not one of the giant ones, but just a like or a box or a crate or something like that. That's the height. So this is Ganon. So we fought Ganon at the very beginning of the game as Link. And now we're doing a refight as Zelda. So this is definitely one of the tricky fights in the run. Being able to nail these cycles is really tricky. We're wanting to use sword form as much as possible in this fight, because we really don't have echoes that do much damage to him in comparison to our sword. Bosses automatically take an extra 50% damage from our sword than normal, so we are incentivized to use our sword ability on bosses as much as possible. Also, when it comes to echo enemies, the purple blobby forms of them, when we use our sword ability, we do double damage to them, so we really want to use that. During these cycles where he's shooting those fire keys, it's really like we want to use those to farm those blue energy crystals so that we have our sword ability, and we want to make sure we are minimizing the amount of time we are spent in the... Oh, this is getting really tight. We want to minimize the amount of time that we're spending in our sword form, so we have enough time to be able to do as much damage as possible. We are in the final cycle right now, and GG's. Nice. That was a really tough fight, and yeah, GG's. That was a sick one. Getting really low on health like that, it was definitely clutch to stay alive and refell on hearts just enough to be able to finish that out.
という戦闘だったんですけど、なんとかダウンすることなく、ゲームオーバーになることなく撃破できたので、まあ OK でしょう。
Yeah, there's a high level difficulty in that fight. There's so many tiny little things when it comes to the precise timing in certain cycles to be able to do enough damage to not get a repeat cycle and stuff like that you have to nail. So yeah, excellently done. And there's a lot of randomness in RNG as well in that, especially in the final cycle. You don't control what kind of actions it does. It's all basically scripted up to the final cycle. It's apparently random, but the cycles always do the same actions. Like in the first one, it's always going to be doing the stab one, and then the second cycle is always going to be doing the throwing the spinning thing out. So you know what it's going to do. You kind of just don't know where it's going to spawn. Except we can do like a pseudo manip where as long as we're standing in exactly the same spot at the right timing throughout the room, we can kind of force the fight to get scripted in a certain way. So we stand in the right spot at the right time, and Ganon's always going to guaranteed spawn, like teleport to a position that we know, so we can sort of script out the fight. And but if you ever make a small mistake and don't nail it exactly to the script that you're trying to follow, then it becomes completely random. We don't know where it's going to spawn and land. So yeah, that fight is a confusing fight and a hard one, because the smallest mistake early you may not notice, but it then makes the fight so much harder.
さっそうと現れたリンク。
ちょっとかっこよすぎますね。
あ、
あれ
50ルピー。
And yeah, we
いやー、まさかの
we defeated Ganon, who we thought was responsible for all of the rifts in the world, but
10ルピーになってしまった。
そうですね。
turns out Ganon was just a clone. It was just another copy,
力の剣を持っていたら
and someone else is responsible for causing these rifts. And Link comes to save us at the very
ちょっとさっぱりわからないんですけど。
end, but gets captured.
さあここでストーリーが進行していきますので、すみません、おさみさん、よろしくお願いします。
ということで元の世界に戻ってきて、リンクがちょっと50ルピーになってしまったということをハイライ
And
ト。
that is pretty much the halfway point of the
そ
run.
れは大変だということで、
For the glitchless category, we have made we've made another category that only runs up to this point of the run, and it's called Defeat Ganon. And it's identical to Glitchless and everything that we've done in the run all the way up to this point as a training category and as like an introductory category of, oh, if you want to start speedrunning this game and you're not playing on you don't have access to the very first build of the game that came out when the game came out that allows you to do the wrong walk glitch to do the other categories. Then you don't have you're not able to do any glitches. So the only available category to you is glitchless. 4 hours is a long speedrun, but a 2-hour category is far more approachable. This is the category for you can learn the first 4 dungeons and finish and it's just time on
ここで先ほど
Ganon.
寝ていたですね、ゼルダのベッド、実はこれ借り物として覚えることができます。これはこのゲームにおいて
But for the rest of the glitches category, we continue from this point. This is only the halfway point, and we're gonna finish out doing the last 4 dungeons of the game.
はい。ここで、玉座の間に戻ってきました。
So we get access to Zelda's bed for the first time in the game. So one of the cool things with beds is that you can lay down in them to sleep and you recover hearts. And if you just use the basic bed, the soft bed that you get right at the beginning of the run, you periodically restore a half a heart worth of health. When you were in the Gerudo area, there is a softer bed that we can get to restore a whole heart. But as everyone knows, the most comfortable bed in the world is your own bed. So Zelda, if we use Zelda's bed, she restores 2 hearts. And that helps as a nice safety later if we ever get hit by and damage down to low. We will have points where we're able to just hop in bed and quickly restore 2 hearts and then continue as a nice little quick health restore at any point that we want. Kind of ties into what I was mentioning quite a while ago with the smoothies, that the smoothies aren't really the most time efficient thing to use for either health restoring or just like giving us buffs. We kind of don't need them. So yeah, we have our outfit change, and from this point on the run, you can use any outfit. You are able to swap out outfits, and one of the cool things is like you can use amiibos to give yourself different outfits. So there's
さあここでシルベを開けた後に、画面
We normally see a lot of the time like there can be like some like donation incentive to wear a different outfit for the rest of the run. We did have a donation incentive for this run, and it was to do one of the bosses in the first half of the run with only a table, and that was really cool and fun to see. So yeah, the story from this point now is that there are 3 more rifts that opened in the world, so we got to go and clear those. And doing so, they're each going to have 3 dungeons. So yeah, we're going to clear out the last 3. We're in the second half of the run now, so. Earlier on in the game, before we went to the Zora section, we activated this warp point here, and that just helps you a lot with this backtracking section here of just, we just get to warp over to this point. And also, just now, after leaving the castle, we could have just warped here immediately, but it was just more convenient for us to just go and grab that warp point that was just outside of the castle to the north. We just like to do a little bit of parkour and climb our way out of the castle and activate a warp point. That's going to be that's going to be helpful for the third of these 3 dungeons. But this is the first one, so it's Pharaon. These 3 dungeons are going to be the Forest Temple, the Fire Temple, and the Ice Temple. I think they're called Pharaon Temple, Elden Temple, and Lanayru Temple. But those are effectively what they what elements describe what they are.
がですね、裂け目に半分飲み込まれてしまったということで困っています。左側の子たちは何やら羨ましそうに、なんかビドン
So very much like with earlier on in the run where we arrive in an area and it's like we get introduced to some of the NPCs, they have some problem going on, we need to go to various different points, go into Stilled Realms, rescue people, help them out, and then eventually unlock the ability to go into the dungeon. And then we'll clear the dungeon, and we're gonna be following exactly the same format for the rest of the sections. So yeah, both here and in the next 2 sections, it's gonna follow the same format. So here we got another echo. So we have another Stilled Realm, which is we have to find all of these orbs. Just taking advantage of our extra height with the Groggering to be able to jump up these sections a little bit easier. Make use of our bomb fish to blow up that the web. So there's 2 ways of dealing with webs. Well, you can light them on fire and wait for them to burn, but the bomb explosion just explodes and instantly destroys it. So that's the fastest way of doing it.
どれぐらいのパワーを持ってるかっていうのをちょっとお伝えできればなと思っております。まあ今回に関してはもう床ビュン大活躍なんで。
Yeah, and some more flying tile stacking in the infinite staircase building up to this section here.
ここは糸チュラで高さを稼いで先に進んで。
So there have been so many echoes that we have earlier on in the run that just make random odd returns here and there. We haven't used the Strangler for a long time, but there are just there's just so many spots where it's just useful for us to we'll quickly use this, and we had it earlier on, and
ついでにリンゴも拾ってしまったのでちょっと想定外とです。
that is the last of the the orbs that we need for this section. It was really unlucky that they killed that Deku Baba, like the big Deku Baba, and it dropped an apple. Though that apple is an ingredient for making a smoothie, and there's like 4 or 5 different ingredients that are just random drops. Every time one drops and you pick it up, you get like the text box appears, and it's just a surprise, and you don't want to get it. But it's purely RNG, you can't control it, and
さあここで鳥居レベルが上昇していきます。さあここでかけらも回収していっ で今16個ですね。
Yeah, so that's this Guild Realm cleared out, and we're getting more crystals.
20個かな。20個は最低でも必要となってきます。
はい、元の世界に戻ってきました。
I think I caught that we're on 16 crystals, and I believe that we need to get up to 20, and then we're able to upgrade our sword to level 3.
はい。
知らない世界ですね。
Yeah, 16 sounds right.
で非常に流行っている綿あめ、それがクモの巣なんですけれども、裂け目を閉じてしまったことによってそれが食べられなくなってしまう。
So this is these oh yes, we've got this part of the game. When you're playing through this section casually, it's really funny. Like it's such a fun section because of like just the interactions that you have with all of the Deku scrubs. It's just like some really great characterization going on, and like all of the cutscenes are just like really entertaining to watch and listen to. But this section here is another stealth section. So we've had our echo rods taken away, so we can't use echoes anymore, which is just one of the strongest things that we have, and we have to go through this section without one.
でここもスニーキングアクショ
But
ン
we do have some. We haven't lost all of our abilities. We just lost some. So the main ability that we lost was our
広くないので基本的には
echo, like being able to spawn echoes, but we can still bind and move things around. So we make use of those pots to like jump up over there.
進ん
And
でいきますが柵の奥にあるベ
we have to use binds to solve some of these puzzles here.
ここでゼルダ
That stealth section is really rotten to do, and it's lovely what we get to do there, just like doing that like that pop section to just like hop up over the blocks and run
これ
along.
が噂のスイーツですね。スイーツを食べてるレグナツ君と会話します。
なんか絵の部分に見覚えがあるんですけれども、
あれこれもしかして
Yeah, we get our echo rod back, but unfortunately they were using it as a
こちらですね、ラスボス
cotton
の
candy stick and eating with it, so it's all sticky now.
まあ仕方ないですね。やっぱ早く世界救ってあげないといけないんで、多少の汚れは我慢してもらって、まあ、トリー君には後で綺麗にしてと言われてるんですけど、まあ綺麗にする時は訪れるんでしょうか。さあこの後も先に進んでいきます。
So just before we can leave this section, there's one more stealth section that we need to do, but now we don't want to do stealth sections, we'll just skip
こ
it.
のようにね、デクナッツ君視野が非常に狭いので後ろに着地されても気づくことはありません。さあここです。
Yeah, anyone who's played this casually, had to do those sections, knows how frustrating those are. It's so easy for the Dekus to come and capture you, but we just skip it completely. And like all of this section escaping, it's so fun to see in a glitchless context. There's some really cool strats here, like that with the flying tile. There's water flow there that's pushing you down, and you're not supposed to be able to swim through that section. But binding ourselves to the flying tile doesn't get impacted by the water there, and we can just drag ourselves through. That's not the only time we are going to use that tech to be able to get through flowing water sections.
もらいました。
いやー人助けはするもんですね。
本当ですね。見習わないとですね。
そうですね。
ということでごちそうどころに戻って中に入っていきます。
あ、ぶつかっちゃいましたね。
And more path blades.
いい感じの角度。
That one unfortunately got caught on a tree, but yeah, the path blades just like flinging us across the overworld. So now we basically we had to we weren't. This is where the dungeon entrance is, and we weren't able to come in here until we get to the.
非常に
Like
可愛いですよね。
the membership card, and we just got given it there so that we were able to come into here. So now we can go into the dungeon.
してます。
中に入りますと、皆さんがデザートを堪能している。
Yeah, so I guess what's going on in the story is that they've like these
想像がつかないんです。
the Deku society like making smoothies. They really like sweet foods,
と
and
ころで後ろから裂け目が
then suddenly all of these webs started appearing, and they think it's amazing because they've been buying, like they've been turning it into like they've been eating it, and it's like, oh, it tastes like cotton candy, it's so sweet and amazing. So everyone stopped making smoothies and started using these, and but they
出てきちゃいましたね
they haven't really grasped how dangerous everything is with all of these rifts opening up. They like the rifts and think that is great.
空中の卵状態の時に一定量ダメージを与えると魔物が召喚される
And yeah, we see there the that
ので今回は
fight
魔物を召喚させ
is one of those echo blobs, and if it comes and flies into us and hits us, it spawns into a bunch of enemies that we have to kill. But just using the sword to kill it
ここで仲間と
means that it doesn't spawn into any enemies, and it has much less health than the enemies that spawn from it. So yeah, we want to get a nice quick kill with that.
そうですねまあ食欲には勝てないか仕方ないですね
いってらっしゃいピーということで裂け目をやっぱり閉じて仲間を助けることを
So
しましたね
そうですねまあ
in that cutscene, that's quite a funny cutscene there, where we tell them that we need
あざといですね
to purge the rift to be able to save their friends.
というわけで
And then they're like, but if we do that, then there's going to be no more cotton candy. We have to choose between the two of them. What choice can we make? And one of them just like looks at the other and is like, why are you considering this?
ここで、何やら放電している敵が現れていますので、ここで放電しているキース、エレキースですね。
So we are in the stilled realm of the before the next
このステー
dungeon.
ジでこの電気を使うテクニックがいくつかありますので、そのために
We in the next dungeon, there's going to be a lot of electricity puzzles, and we want to get at something that is going to be able
で
to
全ての食材の火を消すと先に進むことが
solve those. So we get that electric keys. The electric keys isn't the only electric enemy that we can get here. There's going to be some
ここのギミックをまあ突破するのに想定されてる
I forgot what the name of them is, but it's like the blob enemies with that were from like A Link to the Past. And when you hit them with your sword, you get electrified. But yeah, these guys here. So we could get these, but the electric keys is more useful later on in the dungeon. They're going to be really useful for the boss fight, so we want to use the electric keys
ところ
for
が多
that.
分ないから
And this is the dungeon proper.
他ないかなとは思いますけど、ちょっと危ないかもしれません。
そうですね、まあ、最悪は立派な
Yeah, earlier in that Stilled Realm section, we used the Gustmaster to blow out all of the fire and activate the doorway so we can
さあ、先ほどちょっと、
continue through, and
無事にもうすぐに、
there's also some frog enemies in that section that that they as long as they're alive, they make rain fall. And one of the things with the electric enemies is when it's raining, they get like supercharged and have a big like electric radius around them. So like in that section, you're kind of intended to go and kill the frog to stop it raining, so that
でゼルダのベッドは、
the electric enemies aren't so tough to deal with, and you can beat them. And then because you killed the frog enemy, you get to go and put the fire out by using the frog enemy to like spawn rain, and then the rain puts it out. We are right now in a very open dungeon. This dungeon is really convoluted in terms of there are like 5 different entry points of where you want to enter. Normally you enter one is like, I can't do anything here, and get forced to turn around. But we have come up with some great convoluted strats for being able to solve these puzzles and basically go backwards through the dungeon. Just with knowledge of the game. Like, yeah, this doorway here is just always there. You're kind of like not supposed to know about it until much later, but if you know about it, you can just open it, and we just get a small key for free. And yeah, we just come through that section quickly just to grab 2 small keys. and respawn back to this start point. And now this is the main section of the dungeon. And some great strats there with just like dropping a pathway to activate the switch to open up the main entrance, whilst also opening the locked door to enter the first half of the mini boss for this dungeon. Really nice sword strats there. Yeah, Manhandler is we just use sword. But you want to hit the eyes and make them all vulnerable at the same time. Because the sword has like an area to its swing, we want to try and maximize the damage we're doing to them as much as possible by hitting them all at the same time. Well, there's going to be a refight with that boss where there's going to be a four-headed Manhandler a little bit later. And, really cool puzzle here. You need to hit those two switches at exactly the same time, so we just make use of the Path Blade and make sure to activate it at the same time. One of the first really strong enemies in the game that we're going to be encountering here is the Electric Wizrobe. And yeah, Wizrobes turn out to be really easy to kill with water. We are going to capture some of those Wizrobes. We're going to get the fire and the ice ones because they turn out to be really useful elements to use. We don't need the electric one. It does a lot of damage, but we don't need damage with electricity. We just need the ability to electrify specific things. So our electric piece is all we need for that. We have delved really far deep into the depths of the dungeon, and this is kind of like the deepest we're going to get to. And this is the second half of the mini boss. There's four heads of the Manhandler. The blue ones can only be made vulnerable with a bomb explosion inside. So we are making sure to use our echoes of just the bomb fish to activate that, and then make the other heads vulnerable and just try and use spin attacks to do the biggest AoE to hit everything all at the same time and to clear out that fight. It's really nice having a higher level sword for that fight. That fight gets really difficult when you don't have any sword upgrades, or if you don't even have the sword at all, and you have to just do it with some like bombs, fish, or like some other echo enemies. The sword makes it a much nicer fight to do. Also, dark rooms. Yeah, this dungeon can be a little bit tricky because you may not know exactly where you need to go, so you've got to learn the layouts of rooms. And here we see the strat again with using the flying tile to fly against the current flowing water. And here is here's another use of the electric keys to activate all of these switches to open this door. We have everything that we need. We've got the boss key. We're just heading directly to the boss. So here's a nice solution to this puzzle, where we jump with one of the beds to reactivate a switch as we spawn another one. And, cool stuff. And we're right in front of the door, so we can just hold up, and as soon as the cutscene ends, we enter it. This is now that's this dungeon over. This dungeon is so wide and open you can go in all different directions, but we very much beelined exactly to where we needed to go. And this is why we want the electric keys. The electric keys is able to fly and hit Gomer electric points and make it drop down. That was a really nice first cycle. Are they able to use the yeah, that's right. They were able to get that cycle complete with the amount of energy that they had, and then use the potion to give them more echo energy at this point. Not echo energy, the sword form energy. So we are aiming to get a 3 cycle in this fight, and you have a locked-in amount of time that the eye is vulnerable, that you're able to do damage, and it looks very much like they did enough damage here. Really cool Gust Master strats there. That's a little preview of what we're going to see a little bit later in terms of being able to like fly up in the air like that. That's really cool to see. We need to get right up onto the eye and then activate Sword Form. There's only just about enough time to use the sword to kill this guy. They didn't quite have enough time, so yeah. Oh no! Oh, that's so close. The boss is like one hit off now from dead in the final
非常
cycle.
にいるうちにちょっと仕留めたいですね。
Yeah, we
こ
just
こで再度
it's not too much time loss. You just have to reactivate the just to there you go, and then the spin attack.
It was just
Oh,
one
that was-
hit.
Yeah, it was so close. That is genuinely like really tough to recycle to hit. It's really common to not get the 3 cycle there,
いい感じにブローボールで上を取ることは
especially in with only sword form. There's so much management you have to do with the energy. Like they were stuck on the web trying to jump up, but when you're stuck on the web, you can't jump as high, and that was just really unfortunate that the web was placed exactly in the wrong spot. It's the RNG of this fight that that didn't play into their favor.
さあ残りの裂け目は2つとなってますが、タイムももう2時間超えててあと3分の1ぐらいですかね。私は疲れてるんですけど直人さんいかがでしょうか。
いや結構疲れがきてるんで、ここで、会場の皆さんも一緒に伸びしましょう。伸びを伸びしましょう。さすがにね、疲れがきてる。
Oh, everyone's gonna stretch. Yeah, we are over 2 hours in, so yeah, it is a good idea. There are every time we do one of these dungeons, we're gonna have quite a long cutscene, so it is a good shout to limber up and stretch out a bit. This is it's a 4-hour run, so it is you don't want to just be sat here the entire time. Get up and do a little bit of stretch after each dungeon.
Yeah, everyone watching as well, get a quick stretch, get some water, get a snack. This run's pretty long. I think it deserves a snack.
Definitely. This is not the longest cutscene right now. When we do the next one, there is a really long cutscene. It's going to be like 5 minutes. So absolutely, like go take a go take a bio break, grab a snack during that.
地域がですね、オルディン、フィローネ、ラネール。
This cutscene isn't the longest. There's still time enough to go and take a break, about a minute or two.
フロールの証というもの
We're just gonna after this. There's going to be more cutscenes as well, where we go and see the Deku Society all fixed up.
ようやった。
ようやった。
はい、残るはオルディンとラネール。はい、そちらに向かって邁進していきます。
はい。もうね、サクッと世界救っちゃいましょうか。さあ、元の世界戻ってきたみたいですね。
やっぱり裂け目をね閉じたのでびっくりしてる感じですね。助けてくれてありがとうっていう。
可愛いですね。
はい、におうっぴ。わたあめの次は何やら違うスイーツが。
ああ。
Yeah, there's that cutscene is the Deku's very quickly forgetting all about the cotton candy webs and figuring out like what's that sweet smell? It's smoothies, and they're so happy to just like go back to how they
じゃ
were.
あスムージーの次は唐揚げかもしれないですね。はい。
最終的には油物に行き着くと。ちょっとすみません、疲れからか思考が回ってない。
ということで、
when you're playing the glitched categories in this, especially all dungeons, a lot of the cutscenes are very broken because of flag reasons. So some of the Deku scrubs don't run correctly during the cutscenes because there's some obstacles in the way that didn't get cleared out correctly, and they're kind of like running in spot, and then they just like snap out of existence, and it's really funny. And here we are going to be doing our last upgrade. We're going to upgrade our level 2 sword to level 3 sword. So the level 2 sword was already really helpful and strong for us to be able to do that dungeon quick. especially the boss fights. But the level 3 one is definitely a game changer. It's so much more damage. And yeah, really vital we stay on max health, because all the time we're on max health, we get to use our sword beam to be able to hit things at range, and also when we're in melee range, we just get double damage because both the sword hit and the beam hit happen at exactly the same time, and both do apply their damage at the same time. So on to the next section of the game. We got Kakariko Village here, which we're just brushing past. We're not going to do anything in here. We're going to head to Eldin, and this is a very tall mountain that we're going to have to climb up. And well, there is something here that is going to help us be able to do traversal quickly, and it is going to be it's going to be a gyro. So there are these flying enemies called gyros and zeros. One of them throws bombs out of their mouth, the other one blows with wind, and we specifically want to go after the one that is that blows with wind. But we can get up the mountain without using the gyro. We're just going to use the gust master there to like fly ourselves up in the air, like we saw in the boss fight earlier. And yeah, that's a huge time save, being able to just fly up the mountain like that, nice and quickly.
本当に全国各所で迷惑かけてますね、この裂け目は。
子供が泣いています。お父ちゃんが飲み込まれてしまったということで。
Yeah, and very immediately we're introduced to the Gorons, and these are the people we're going to have to help to be able to access the Elden Temple, the Fire Temple, as the next one. And yeah, we immediately have a still drum, so another little mini level where we have to run around and collect all of the of these orbs.
テールの影は邪魔なのでシンクで落としていきます。敵キャラは落下したらリスポーンできないので。
Yeah, we're so used to have like when there's an enemy in the way, we just bind an echo onto bind onto the enemy and then drop it off an edge so it stops bothering us. So that is a zero, that flying enemy right there, because it's shooting bombs. That's the red, the green one. We want to find the purplish blue ones, and we're going to echo one of those. That's going to give us our fastest and best movement technique in the game. But there's a really nice flying pot angle that we got there to be able to jump and land inside of this pot here. One of the very cool strat techs that we have with the bombs is that if we bind an echo with it, and if we fall whilst binding it, as it explodes, we can kind of like drag the bomb explosion and give it some momentum as it explodes, so it doesn't just explode in the radius around it, but the radius explosion kind of like moves down and hits the next set of blocks, and we get to skip having to use as many bomb fish there to be able to get through that section a little bit faster.
そうです。多分おそらくこの RTA で借り物レベルって最大まで行くんだっけな。最大は行かないんだっけな。
いや、行かないんじゃなかったでしたっけ。あんまり
いくつかは残ってるんですけど、ほぼほぼマックスまで行ける感じですよね。
そうです。
Yeah, we're getting very close to a level up. There is one more section of Still Realm that we're going to have to do in the run that is going to give us our extra bonus upgrade on top of all of the level ups and that we've been collecting for doing the dungeon proper.
元の世界に戻ってきて、たくさん
Because we're at level 6.
たくさんの人を里見から助け出せたってことですね。
And the
この真ん中にいるダル
It's
ストン
very important that we get. Yes, that's right. We get another level up here.
特徴に
It's going to put us to level 7. And then before we go to the next dungeon, we're going to
お
get
父さんが族長だったみたいなん
that
ですけど
upgrade that's going to put us to level 8. And level 8 is kind of a very important level to hit before going into the ice dungeon, because it gives us a discount on one of the enemies we need to use in there, and it's going to help make one of the fights in there so much easier.
してるみたいです。
いやマニュアル大事ですからねやっぱり
大事ですよね。
何事もそれを残してた先代はとても優秀な方だったんでしょうね。
でまだまだ裂け目に取り込まれている行方不明者がいるということで、そちらを助けに行きます。
If I remember correctly, the Goron leader here is Darston, and he has just recently became the new Goron leader, and he's trying to learn the ropes, and he's too
そういうキャラクターのイメージが強いんですけれども、このダルストン君は
unconfident with his
考え
being the new leader, so he's just trying to follow the rules and instructions that have been given to him so that he can try and do his best.
そうなのかもしれないですね。結構私は好きですね。
はい
はい。
And that tablet that he's got in his hand is like all of the rules of like
無視して上に進んでいきます。
proverbs and like little sayings of like advice of what you should do if like in a certain situation.
人たちに会いに行く。
But yeah, there are again more rifts have opened in this area, and the Gorons are
長老の人のシルバー爺さんというゴロン族が丸く
the
なっ
Gorons need to try and figure out how to like what's going on and how they can
リザルフォスの巣穴ということでリザルフォスたくさんいるんですけども、ここは剣士モードの剣
But yeah, we are going to solve their problem for them by
なんとビーム2回で敵を倒すことが
clearing the rifts.
こんなに強そうな
And yeah, nice example of our level 3 sword upgrade. We just use our sword beam to insta-kill those Lizalfos. So, I mean, in the previous room we just skipped past Lizalfos, but this room we had to kill those 2 Lizalfos there. Those are level 2 Lizalfos. They're a little bit stronger than the level 1s. In the all dungeons run, we grab one of these level 2 Lizalfos really early on because they cost 4. So we can use it immediately after the first dungeon.
はい、とここで
And oh yeah, right now we have 5 wedge unlock like a echo
物理演算を
like tokens, so we can spawn that many
どうせならこのフロアの敵全員倒してほしい。
echoes currently.
5分の2ですね。
And but yeah, with because the level 2 Lizalfos is exactly 4, it's one of the highest damaging enemies that or echoes that you are able to spawn with only 4. And it also, if you lock onto an enemy and deploy it, instantly, as soon as it spawns, it lunges forwards and then stabs the enemy extremely quickly,
そうですね、さっきの
which is extremely handy because it means that once we've spawned one and it lunges forwards and hits, we can immediately spawn another one, and it will delete the first one and spawn a new one who will immediately lunge forwards and stab, and we can just like spam them, and they just lunge forwards and stab really quickly, and it's like just a rapid fire stabbing ability at range, which ends up being higher damage than us using our sword form, and it's super handy to have. Unfortunately, in Glitchless, we just don't come here early enough for it to be worthwhile to go and get, and level 3 sword is just a lot more damage than these level 2 Lizalfos, but it's super handy to have in a category like all dungeons where we don't want to go and do our sword upgrades.
ゴールドおじいちゃん、丸まってますね。
丸まってますね。先ほどのシルバージューサーはリザルフォスから身を守るために丸まってたのは分かるんですけど、今回なんで丸まってるんですかね。お腹が減ったかな。
So there is in this section we need to grab one of the we have to grab that
黙ります。
rock roast, and we have to deliver it to these guys.
さあここで漏水は実は借り物
And
として
yeah,
覚えるこ
we're
とが
going to make creative use of the flying tiles to be able to echo and spawn the rock roast here.
そうすると、しっかりと食いついてくれますので
Yeah, it's interesting that we can't just like take one of
なんか満足してくれたみたいなの
the
で
rock roasts. We have to we have to we have to spawn one of the an echoed version of it first. We can't just take the regular one because we need to trigger that first section first where they're like, oh, this is a cheap imitation of it, and then we go and get the then we go and give them an actual real one, and that section's a lot tricky. Having to give a real rock roast there is trickier because there's like an obstacle section, but the name of this game is just like, oh yeah, there's some puzzle, we'll skip it by just using a flying tile or beds or something. So yeah, we just did that using creative use of the tools available to us, and just drop the real rock roast to be able to do this section.
若者ですねダルストン君は
そうですね、なんとか、お父さんのマニュアルを見つつも自分の力でなんとかしようとね、努力している。
And yeah, with this done, we warp back to the Goron city.
ということで、集会所に戻ってきました。何やら秘密の抜け道について話しています。先ほど河口に行くための抜け道探す必要があるとお伝えしたんですけれども、どうやらですね、族長の部屋、元族長の部屋に、何やらヒントがあるということをおじいさんから聞いて、ダルストン君ちょっと駆け出していきます。
なんとかヒントが見つかってよかったですね。
はい、実際に、ね、あるかどうかわからないんですけども、ありそうということで。
So now we are going to be heading
迂回するより
towards
直線で行った方が早いので、床便を使
the
って
dungeon. We have to head into the main, this is like Dastard's bedroom, and there was a big portrait of his father here.
やっぱ血は争えないです。
And
あれあれあれ
it is covering up a secret entrance to deeper into the volcano, and
損害になりませんか？
we need to go into the volcano to be able to cure the rift that has spawned in there. And
じゃあ大丈夫ですね。
はい
はい。
まあどうやら肖像画の裏に隠し通路が
so now we've got a little
先に進んでいきます。
cave section before the
まあダルストン君ここ
before
で
the dungeon
心得を見ながら
that we're going to have to traverse through. And
ますがゼルダは
as we've been saying throughout this run, we have so much available to us right now. We've got like the path blades, we've got the flying tiles. The flying tiles are going to be super useful in this section here. Yeah, really tricky flying tile jumps here. Using the frog ring makes this a lot easier. There is an easier strat with the frog ring where you place down a flying tile
ちょっと余談にはなるんですけど床便のコスト
and
が借り
then
物コスト
jump afterwards instead of having to time like spawning and like jump spawning. It makes the window a lot more lenient, but you can only do it much later on when you're also able to have two.
全く問題なく
You need to have enough echo points available for you so that you are able to spawn two flying tiles at the same time. It makes it a lot easier to do these infinite staircases after that point.
そうそうそうそう
タイマーカッターで到着した先に
And yeah, the frog ring giving us the extra height to make it more lenient of like, oh, when we jump, we won't just like, if we're slightly off on our timing, we'll still have enough height to jump and land on the next flying tile. If we don't have the frog ring, it's such a tight timing window.
僕なりの方法で道を切り開く
あれ
と言っています。
あ大事な心得でしたが
And this is the point where Darston comes to the realization that he can't just keep following in the footsteps of his dad's like instructions of like
非常にいいシーンですね。
そうですね、素晴らしい。
how he needs to act as a leader. He's got to find his own way, so he's happy to discard the manual that he had there with all of the like all of the sayings and mottos. He's read them enough times to remember all of the sayings in them, but it's up to him now to choose when and how to apply them as the leader and find his own way.
三女神の眠っている地に
But that is now that story section complete and into the dungeon. Well, not the dungeon yet. We got the stilled realm and flying tiles. There's some cool parkour that you can do through the section where you jump on top of the octos and use them as like stepping stones to fly through this section. But if you got flying tiles, it's a lot faster to go through there.
これ落下ダメージじゃないです
And yeah, we just it's like, oh, you have to zigzag through this whole section to do it the intended way, but flying tiles, they're great.
さあ、あっという間に、火山の無を越えて、ダンジョン
So this is Elden Temple, is a fire temple, and this is a longish linear section, linear dungeon. It's like a big long straight line that we're going to do little arcs out to the side just to grab like a small key or something, return back to the main path and go in a like a straight line. So here is the first key, and yeah, we grab that, and then yeah, it's just faster to just just load the save. There are sections where we don't even need to save the game. The game just auto-saves when we open a chest or grab a small key or something like that. So we open that chest and so we can just, as soon as the cutscene is over, we can just load the save and respawn it at the beginning of the dungeon. We have to hit that switch, just drop the flying, like the big onto it. These 2D sections are a little bit tricky to do with the flying tile jump thing, but there's some cool tech we get to do where we place down the flying tile and then like bind onto it and fly our way through. Yeah, we hit that and we respawn back up to the top.
床面を出しているので全く問題はありません。ダメージを食らってリスポーン地点までワープします。さあこの先にある宝箱を開けて引き続き先に
Flying tiles make these sections so much easier, especially with the yeah, so we're going to grab the flying tile, fly across with it bound like that, and then yeah, make our way back across. Nice cool tech that we got there.
ここはまあ若干ちょっと
And yeah, you can just drop a thing down there to stop that stop the steam vent going through. You can do that a little bit slow by using a flying tile, and it makes it very easy. But you know, so for the fastest strats there, by on the way forwards, they were just trying to jump directly through. But we've got another Link mini boss, and this time he's using bombs. It is odd how late in the game that the bombs become available. These 3 dungeons can be done in any order, so it can end up that you just happen to choose to go to the Fire Temple last, and in which case you're basically at the end of the game by the time you unlock bombs. But yeah, that was a quick fight. If you blink and you miss it, that is level 3 sword. You just sword slash in front, like on Echo Link and both the. This is why they climbed into bed before going into this fight to make sure that they went to full health. You need to be on full health to get Sword Beam, and the Sword Beam and the Sword Slash at the same time just insta kills with level 3 sword. Some more cool strats we got here, just like optimizing our time with these bombs, spawn them as early as possible so they explode as they get to the right position. Yeah, you can always just drop one and walk it to where we need it to be and blow it up. So here's another Wiz Robe, and just like with the previous Wiz Robes, we're going to see where it spawns, place down some water underneath it, but this one we are going to want to capture. Going to capture that fire Wiz Robe.
ここで Fire with Robe は、借り物としては
We had to kill that fire with rope because there is a small key here that we need to be able to continue
珍しい
through.
借り物だったりするので、戦闘でかなりお世話になった方もいるんじゃないかなと思います。
And yeah, we grab a small key and we
さあここで
we do a little bit of backtracking back to the main path.
ここ検視モードに
So there's one more small key that we're going to want to grab here. It is underneath those blocks. We're just going to kill those fire keys to make them stay out of the way.
ブロックを破壊して
You can grab the fire keys if you want,
回収します。
but the fire with rope ends up being just super convenient as
はい、小さな鍵を入手です。
for being able to light things on fire. And we've got Ignazole anyway from the very beginning of the run as our fire source if we need. But the fire with rope is just so much
ダ
damage
ンジョン
that
としては複雑だったりす
we
る
want to use that instead
最短
of
ル
the
ートを
fire
取ってい
keys.
ますのでかなりスムーズに攻略をしています。
And this is the last like puzzle thing in this dungeon, which is we're going to grab the boss key. And when we grab the boss key, now the lava's going to start rising up. We have to get through out of this section. If we ever fall down into the lava, it resets the entire room, and it does lose quite a lot of time. But yeah, you just want to get past that section.
なんですけども
They made sure to kill this. This is the Giro. That we made sure to kill it before getting the boss key, so that when we're climbing up, we just get to echo it. And that is going to be the last piece of our that we need to be able to do the Gust Giro strat. So Gust Giro is going to. I've been teasing it a lot, but it's just one of the most amazing techs in this game in terms of like speed and yeah. This is just Giro on its own. Just being able to hold onto it and like fly across through areas is great. You're intended to use some flying creatures to be able to get through that section, but the Giro just gives us a speed boost, so it's just the best one to use. You can use geese and crows and stuff, but the Giros are the best. And now we've got Volvagia. This boss is a forced a 7 cycle. You have to just do enough damage to advance it to the next cycle. And if we're using level 3 sword, it's very easy to do that, so we just this boss is very much an auto-scroller. We just literally stand here and wait for it to go into position. You can damage it whilst it's flying, or you can apparently damage it whilst it's flying in the air, but it like takes the damage special effect, but its health doesn't ever go down. So there is no point in trying to hit it whilst it's flying in the air. We literally just go and stand at the point that is going to spawn, and it just runs around the room, spawning at fixed points. So now it's going to get a little cutscene here, and it's going to trigger the final section of the fight, which is just another like 3 cycles. So we make sure to break the gem. When we break the gem, it spawns the energy refills, so that we can restore our sword ability energy, so that we're able to not run out during this fight. And then we just need to make sure we do enough damage to trigger it to carry on with the fight. And it's just a certain number of sword hits. We've already seen basically all of the really tricky boss. Oh well, actually no. There's 2 more very difficult boss fights coming up. This is not one of them. Okay, final cycle now. It's just going to come and go into the ground there, and then we're done here. After this dungeon, there is going to be a very long cutscene. So it's very much advised at this point, you can go and take a break. That is the dungeon done. We've got a very long cutscene. At least 5 minutes, so yeah, you can definitely go and have a break now if you haven't done so already.
強そうなボスでしたねいつものように、トリのムービーが入ります。ちょっと余談ではあるんですけども、先ほどの気温が関係してるって話、この後出てくるんですけども、暑い場所にいるときは高温ダメージみたいなものを受けるタイミングがあったりします。なので、最初に入手してた名前忘れた スムージーですかね、ああいったものでなんか体を冷やす効果であったりとかをゼルダに付与してなんかダメージ軽減するみたいなこともできたりします。というわけで裂け目が閉じましたので、火山にも平和が訪れました。鳥レベルもだいぶ上がってきましたね。さあタートナックレベル2とブローボールのレベルが下がりましたが、基本的には繰り返しになりますがちょっとお得になっただけですね。
とここで3女神のうちの1人ディンと対話します。また先ほどと同様ですね、ようやったということで褒めて使わすということで、
ちょっと貴族感出ましたね
はい、ディンの証を手に入れます。はい。とここでですね、敵対勢力についてディンが教えてくれます。昔々あるところに無の世界がありました。
そんな語る口になるんですね
その世界の中で何かが奪われるたびに取り込んでは無に返してしまう存在が現れます。一体それは何なのでしょうか。さあズームアップして現れました。その名はヌール。このヌールという名前、エクセルやプログラミングをやっている方はほほーんって思ったかもしれませんがヌールは何かを作り出したり生み出したりすることができません。ただ人や物を飲み込んでは何もない状態にすることしかできない悲しきモンスターなのです。友達もいませんもしかしたらみんなから慕われて知恵を絞りいろんなものを作り出せるゼルダ姫たちを嫉妬していたんじゃないかという見方もできると思うのですが、タオミさんいかがでしょうか。
振らないでほしいです隣の、庭は青いってよく言いますからね。はい、これで大丈夫ですか、
ありがとうございますということで2つ目の証を手に入れましたので残るは1つ、ラネールですね。続いて、霊峰ラネールに向かいます。
そうです。ヌール君は多分シリーズでも初見の敵なのかなと思ってるんですけど、合ってますかね。どうなんだろう。
そうですね、結構新しいというか、
知らない敵ですよね。
はい、ガノンが敵だと思ってましたから冒頭から。
そうですよね、なので物語の核心にだいぶ迫ってきたんじゃないかなってところですね。
で元の世界に戻ってきました。オルディン火山の裂け目も閉じることができましたので胴上げです
バザーイバザーイバザーイ
これダルストン君結構コロコロしてるのがちょっと可愛いんですよね。
そうですね。途中まで無表情だったのがちょっと気になるんですけどシャッターチャンスの時だけ笑顔になってくれるということで非常にファンサービスができる特徴ですね。
素晴らしいですね。
素晴らしいですね。
やっぱり成長が見られますね。
そうですね。やっぱ一人の男の圧倒的な成長をもう目の当たりにすることができました。
みんなニコニコしてて嬉しいみたいな感じでトリーもね。
そうですね。
感情がなさそうだったんですけど、
だいぶなんかいい感じのやり取りができるようになってますよね。最初なんか砂の中潜れとか言ってきたんですけどさあここで
Alright, and we
ブローボールとブロービーを同時に出して
break after the fire
ブローボールにシンクをしながら
here is Gust Gero.
ブローボールの風の
We bind onto a Gust Master whilst holding onto a Gero, and we are able to fly.
今勝手にブロブロと名付けた
Whilst the Gero is doing whilst the Gust Master is doing its blast, if we face towards the Gust Master, we are able to make it fly more vertically up in the air. If we face like forwards, then it propels us forwards in a straight
実は
line.
結構有名なアクションだったりす
So
る
yeah, we try and orient ourselves to be traveling like forwards in the direction that we want to go. So we want to go to the left there. So we put the gust master to our right and propel ourselves forwards. The gyro having the its own like little gust wind thing. We try and sync up with the gust master as much as possible, so we get like big speed boosts and also
まあそんなもの持ってないの
not the speed boost, not just like in a straight line, but like also vertically, so we can like boost up in the air and boost to the
に
side.
侵入していく
Whilst we're flying around in the overworld, it's very important that we don't gain too much height, because if we go too high up, we hit the void plane and we respawn back at the last bit of ground that we touched, which is really bad. So we kind of know how high the world height is at various different points, because it scales and depends on which bit of the world that you're above. But also, if you're getting close to it, the game starts like fogging over and like the clouds start covering the screen. So you kind of can tell when you're getting too high up.
ポンデ君もなんか僕は別の作品あまり詳しくはないんですけど初登場なのかなとか思ってるんですけどなんか別のとこで
The respawn mechanic of hitting the void plane is the thing that allows us to do the menu stacking glitch, which allows us to do wrong warps in our glitched categories. So there is a section of the overworld in the Eternal Forest where you're able to just walk into the void plane, because it's a big circle around the forest to stop you from entering it, except for through the main entrance. So we use that for the vast majority of the uses of it to be able to like wrong warps to be able to we respawn to be able to do menu stacking and then chain our menu stack into being able to do a wrong warp using the like double stacked map menus open whilst we go into a dungeon entrance.
飛行機で作ってくれた道は通りませんブローボールで空を飛んでいきます
So in all dungeons, we use that to be able to warp to the ends of every single one of the dungeons, just to fight the boss and leave quickly. And in any percent, we use it to get to the final dungeon, because we just do it once to get to the very end of the game and beat it as quickly as possible.
トリー君から
There are two any percent categories. There is restricted and unrestricted. Because in restricted, we require you to go through the first dungeon before doing doing wrong warp to get to the end of the game. However, in the unrestricted version, there is a method of doing a wrong warp from the very first section of the game in Southern Ruins, and we completely skip having to do the first dungeon by doing that, and it involves having to create a giant structure of available echoes, which we really don't have much available to us at that point, but also any obstacles that we find around, we just like stack up in the right way, and we're able to hit the ceiling, the sky, but we have to build a construction up to that point, because we need to, in order to be able to do the menu stacking, we need to have a sign and put it in the right spot, and be able to read the sign as we void out, and that helps us to establish that glitch. But we can do that before entering the first dungeon, completely skip the first dungeon, break out of the intro section, and then go and set up the main wrong warp to go to the final dungeon.
入ってますんでスムーズに攻略することができる
That's really it's really quite difficult and tricky to do, so that's why it's like the unrestricted category, and we have a restricted any percent, which doesn't require you to do that, and you can do the first dungeon normally, and because there's some cool stuff in the first dungeon that
これで5匹目ですね救出して
we'd like to do.
このムはクリアです
But in Glitchless, we don't do any of that. And here in Glitchless, we are in our final section of the run. It's Lanayru, so it's a big ice mountain, and we have just completed the first stilled realm in here, and we this was really important, this still run, because we got level 7 on our echo ability from beating the previous dungeon, but we have enough. We almost have a next level up available. And we're about to get it now. Yeah, there we go. And up to level 8 we go, and that is going to give us a discount on a very special kind of echo. We haven't unlocked it yet, but it is the Ice Octoroks. We are going to capture one of them a little bit later. Normally they cost 2. That level up reduced the discount to 1. So now we can spam 5 Ice Octos down. And Ice Octos are great because they shoot frozen pellets, and we are able to free... There's going to be a mini-boss in the next dungeon that requires us to freeze it, and it's really useful to have Ice Octos.
そうですね。コンデしか勝たんってやつですね。
So in this story section, we got introduced to the Yeti Conde, and they are chasing after their what they perceive as their brother. Conde lives all on his own. But we kind of did that completely backwards because we just used the Gusgiro to just fly up and around. So to do this mountain section, there are very specific trigger points that we have to hit, and we just figured out what's the fastest way of getting to each one, and that one it just turns out to be faster to go like kind of backwards through that section. And we want to come out to this Ice Wizrobe and kill it to be able to get the Ice Wizrobe. So now we've got Ice and Fire Wizrobes. They're both going to be really useful in the next dungeon coming up. And more Gust Giro strats.
さあここでブロブロを使って高さ稼いでいきます。ここまで来ちゃえば高さ制限は別に関係ない。
Yeah, luckily there is a so there are you see all the cloud layer there. These clouds are void planes, but they are one-way void planes. You can fly up through them. And they, I'm pretty sure you can also fall back down through them until you touch the ground. When you, as soon as you touch some ground, like up in this section, and like the game registers that your last bit of ground that you touched was somewhere up here, and it spawns in the void plane, so you can't ever drop down and fall back down the mountain. You'll hit the void plane, and Zelda will do like the falling animation. You'll respawn back to your last point here, despite us just being in we're just still in the main overworld, and like we're in the same level as like everywhere else in the world. We just being able to travel up here via Gustigiros. It's not like an extra. It's not like a different area or room load or anything. It's just the same area. Ice Wizrobe come in handy, and so do those tarantulas.
ここで敵は無視して下に進んでいくと
So that cave there is basically the only required cave that you have to traverse to be able to get up to this section, because this is the only section that is not accessible by flying up. There is the void plane below here is just always spawned, so if you ever try and fly up here using like the Gusgiro strats, you just fly up into the void plane and respawn back down to wherever you last touched the ground. So we had to go through that cave.
だいぶショック受けちゃってますね。
ちょっとかわいそうですね。
そうですね。本当に
Yeah, Conde's brother like hit them and knocked them down, but Conde is doesn't know why they would do that. And there is a rift here. So well, off we go.
というわけで、真相を確かめるべく
And this is going to be the second to last dungeon. This is the Lanayru Temple.
さあ果たして、コンデを叩いたのは
But
本物の
before the dungeon, there is another stilled realm. So this is a long section with clouds and stuff, but we have Gustagiro, and they were a little bit unfortunate there. The Gust Master got a little bit extra height as Zelda fell off the edge. It wasn't off the edge as well, so it rode up a bit. We want to make sure that the Gust Master is basically perfectly vertically in line with Zelda.
グローブ
There we go.
3回かな3回しか
Nicely done. So you may have noticed that the Gust Master there like turned grey and then like despawned. Well, it didn't despawn, it just turned grey and then didn't activate again. The Gust Master only activates for like 3 times whilst it's mid-air. You have to touch the ground with... The Gust Master has to touch the ground for it to like restore its blasting ability so that it can go again. And that fact is really important for one of the sections later on, which is going to come up after this dungeon. But we are in the Lanayru dungeon now, and this dungeon's all of its puzzles are revolved around heating and cooling. So it's going to be, we have to use combinations of fire and ice to be able to solve all of these puzzles. It's a really fun dungeon in terms of like puzzle solving, but there are also so many bonus and side rooms that you do not need to go into, and we are going to just skip them. You normally just go into them and there's kind of like a little puzzle or something and you solve it and then you get a chest, and the chest has like some like smoothie ingredients, and we do not need them, so we're just completely skipping them. We're just going on the critical path, just directly to the keys. So at this point in the game, this is supposed to be the last dungeon, and we have basically done all of the dungeons in the intended order. And it does this dungeon, there is kind of a big difficulty spike in terms of like just the amount of damage that you take. And we have not been collecting every single heart container, so we do not have much health at all. So this does get really tricky in terms of the enemy fights and stuff like that. When it comes to like solving puzzles and doing like parkour and stuff, it's one of the easier ones just because of how much we have available to us right now. But yeah, when it comes to enemies and maintaining our health, it can be tricky. Oh, that is really unfortunate. They were just a little bit too close to the ice flames there as they dropped down. And
さあここも霊気が行く手を阻んでいますがブローボルブローユを使えば
And here it's like, oh, this is like a puzzly parkour platforming room, and we just skip those Gust Hero.
階段が続いていますので先に進んでいきます。ここで先ほど
This is one of these other puzzle rooms that you're supposed to maintain that orb on fire all the way through that section so that it gets to the top, and then you're able to put it into the thing to melt all of this. But yeah, we can just turn it back into like to fire by just spawning the fire wizard, and we'll just light it on fire again and solve the puzzle.
はい、ファイアウィズローブの力を借りて、
It's hard to tell if that's like an intended thing or if the devs did think that, oh, you're supposed to redo that room and avoid making that set on fire. Really cool strat there with pushing the block across and then timing to hit the switch at the right time.
さあここはちょっと回復しておきたいですね。
There is going to be a mini-boss fight coming up. Not in, like... there is a fight in this room, and it is more convenient for us to be on full health so that we've got our sword beam, and we just kill these. They're the pebblets. They're igneo pebblets, or well, that's their name in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But I think they're just level 2. In this game, level 2. And this is one of the trickier boss fights in the whole run. This is Slime Eye, and this is why we wanted to get that upgrade on our Echo abilities, because we get to put down 5 Octo Rocks and just have rapid fire ice, and they freeze these guys to make them vulnerable. And it's great to just get a big stack of Octo Rights there, so they can just keep firing and shooting and freezing everything, and just using our sword ability to deal damage to these guys. There are only 3 categories of this game that actually have to do this fight. You have to do it in Glitchless, you have to do it in 100%, but you also have to do it in All Dungeons Restricted, which is the All Dungeons Glitch category, but you have to start from the beginning of each dungeon. You can't just walk to the end of the dungeon. So you have to do this fight in that category, and in that category, we do not have this ability. So this is one of the hardest fights in this game when it comes to speedrun, in terms of just like how volatile it is. There is barely there's only 2 little slime eye things left, and the ice octos are going to be able to do this nice and quickly. Nice fight. That can absolutely scale out of control as they become more unwieldy, but there was a lot of quick kills on some of those slime eyes, so that's great to see. And heal back up to full health. Out of their 5 health, they were lost exactly 4, so that's a nice quick heal. And if you notice, they jumped in and out of the bed. The first heal that you get when you first jump into bed is a little bit faster than the next ones that come afterwards, so it's faster to just respawn that, or to like re-trigger the first heal over and over again. But you need to climb into bed, wait for the health to start regenning, and then the moment that happens, you just jump out of bed, jump back into bed, and then you trigger the next heal a lot faster. And this room we've got some puzzles here. There's a nice little strat here. We spawn a Wizrobe in that spot there. And when it does its fire projectile, it spawns the fire projectile not like from the inside of the Wizrobe, but like direct from just in front of him. And because we put him right against the wall, he spawns it on the other side of the wall, and then it fires a projectile and hits a torch that's kind of awkward to hit. And we just fire and forget it with him, so we put him down and ran over to where the gate opens and waited for him to solve this. So this room, you're not supposed to be able to grab that rock through the ice, but we just do. You're supposed to go and melt that section, but we have we figured out so many of these skips and cheeses, like in this room as well. Like, this is supposed to be too difficult, and you're supposed to go freeze the water so that you're able to solve that puzzle by sliding objects onto the thing at the right time. And Flying Tile and Ignazol solves that for us. This Wolfos fight is it's kind of easy, but it can also easily get out of control. You have to hit it as quickly as you can at the beginning of the fight, otherwise it howls and spawns other Wolfos that are going to make the fight more challenging, because you end up having to fight 3 of them. So if you can interrupt it immediately before it gets to spawn the other Wolfos, it helps make that fight a lot faster. Nice, and we are approaching the end of this dungeon. There's only one more thing left to do, and it's just do the puzzle to spawn this boss key. And to do the puzzle, we need to be in this room. So we had to go and do that big loop around there, fighting the Wizrobe, the Wolfos, so that we have access to this this puzzle. And the puzzle, yeah, we have to melt all of the ice that's there and then refreeze all of the water so that we can spawn a bolt like a big ice snowball and hit the switch to open the gate to the boss key.
囲まれていてスイッチの周りを邪魔していたんですけども、この邪魔なつららを、破壊というか溶かしつつ
Once we get the boss key, the next room is the room before the boss. We'll just be able to head directly to it. In the all dungeons unrestricted category, we skip like the entirety of the dungeon because in the next room there is a warp point, and we warp directly to that, and then all we need to do is come back up these stairs. Yeah, it's right there. And we climb up the stairs, and then we just do that quick loop of getting the boss key and come directly into the boss, and we skip like the entirety of the dungeon. So this is Scorchill. It is a much nicer boss fight when you have the fire Wizrobe and the ice Wizrobe. In the all dungeons categories, this is a lot harder when you do not have those available, and you happen to use fire keys and ice keys. We have to go out of our way to go and get those categories, but yeah. This is a 3-cycle fight. He's ice form in the first time, so we need in the first cycle, so we use fire. Now he's switched elements, he's melted everything with fire, so we have to use ice. You can see on his helmet he's got like 3 bits of like element. And we like kind of like tracks his health, so 3 hits with from the Wizrobe damages him enough. And then level 3 sword is very powerful. You just do enough damage to advance the cycle. So this is the 3rd cycle, and this is completely random. Like he was very nice there and just stayed in ice form the whole time. And GG's, really sick fight. That was so fast, and they got great luck with the cycle at the end. That was a really nice demonstration of the fight.
非常に早かったです。
Yeah, that looked really good from my end, at least. From someone who doesn't know about this run, that seemed really clean.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I personally, I have lost a lot of runs dying to this guy. He is tough. You can. It's so easy for it to snowball out of control. You take too much damage and you die, or he's changing up what elements he has, and you're having to constantly switch which element you're trying to use.
ポンデが見ていた優しいお兄さんはしっかりと実在していましたので、兄弟仲にあまり不安を抱く必要はない。
So that is all of our dungeons done.
さあこれで3つ目ですね。三女神のゆかりの地3つ目まで攻略が完了しました。
We have cleared the 3 rifts that we need to do for the main section, or like the main story quest for this part. So
さあこれで三女神のダンジョンが完了しましたが。
We're gonna clear out these cutscenes, and yeah, we activate our last upgrade, and we hit level 9, and we hit 6 energy wedge and 6 Doritos, and we've got there's only one thing in the game that actually costs 6, and it's the Lionel. We're not gonna get the Lionel. It's very good, but it's too much time to go out of our way to go and find it. It's also really tricky to find casually. Like you have to follow a hint from an NPC and decipher what it means, but you go to the Eternal Forest and have to kind of follow like a breadcrumb trail in the right order, and then you get to go to and find the Lionel and kill it. It's also very strong. It will easily one-shot us with the amount of health that we have right now. And it's smart and fast. They don't mess around. They don't get distracted with your echoes. They'll normally just charge through and one-shot one of your echoes if it's in the way, but it's going after you and it will just come and hit you and kill you.
そちらがいるらしい古の森というところに行き
So
ます。
despite it being very strong and it would do a lot for us in the final section of the game, we don't need it. but it's very handy to have the level 6 ability, or like 6 echo costs, which means that we can spawn 3 of a 2 cost echo, or we can spawn 2 of a 3 cost echo. So the flying tiles cost 3. So at this point we can spawn 2 flying tiles, which makes the staircase building with the flying tiles so much easier, especially like that in combining with the frog ring. It's really easy to be able to do the stacking with the flying tiles to just infinite staircase up as high as we want. But still, flying like Gustagiro is the faster of the strats to be able to fly across the world, so we want to make use of that.
ちょっと危険なフラグがありますが、
ちょっと雪崩のリスクが
そうですね。
上がってきてしまうので。
まあただ今
And with completing all 3 of these dungeons in this section, we triggered the final like this cutscene to spawn, which begins the end game section of the game. It doesn't matter which order you do the dungeons in. This will always spawn, and after you do the third of these 3 dungeons.
何やら光り輝いてますが。なんとその手があったか。
これはだいぶ危ないですね。ピンチですね。
すごい、やっぱクレバーですね。今回の敵は一味も二味も違いますね。パワープレイだけじゃない。
はい。
Yeah, an Echo Zelda has
そうですね。ひとまずハイラル城に、トリーがね、ナイスプレーで、転送してくれましたけれども、はい。適正
We've got a pretty long cutscene section here. We've got we're gonna have a cutscene here, and then
ゼルダ姫に証を回収させて最後にですね分取るっていう。
すごい感動しました。なかなかシリーズ。
I'm pretty sure there's also a cutscene in the next room.
巧妙です。
そうですね。力任せに世界ぶっ壊したるわみたいな人が多いと思ったんですけど。はい。だいぶクレバーでスマート。
But we're gonna have quite a bit of time before the next before we're able to head over to the final dungeon. Yeah, we need to head to the Eternal Forest and do a puzzle over there. So right now we get control of Zelda and we can't leave. Well, like if we try and open up the map to be able to warp away, all of the warp points are grayed out. So we have to finish this cutscene section. We just have to, and then we'll be able to leave.
一人では行かせられないということで、ダッシュで先に森に行ってくれています。
いややっぱすごいですね。ああいう時に落ち込んでる時にやっぱこういう明るさがなんか周りを元気にしたりしますからね。
そうですね。大きい声出してる人ってやっぱいいですよね。
そうですね。大きい声出してると何事も解決するんで。はい、というわけでタイマー。
We've got our lovely path blades again to be able to zip through the woods nice and quickly here.
非常に直線距離はスピーディーに進むことができるので便利なアイテムですね。おや？武器将軍が何やらぶっ倒れてますね。姫様に脅かされたということを言ってますが、どうやら借り物のゼルダ姫が現れてウギ将軍たちを、ひとひねりしてしまったようですね。
また霊木も近くに見当た
So
ら
we
ない。
got one last overworld section to do of the game, which is going to be here in the Eternal Forest. It's just going to be a simple puzzle. We have to echo this that
that
orb and then go and place it on pedestals around here. So yeah, we're just going to run around, and they're placed around in in a Triforce orientation. So yeah, you can see it each time we activate it. We've got a little kind of like map display there, kind of indicating where each one is, and can just head around the forest to do that. So this echo is kind of special because it's basically the only echo that is locked to this point of the game. Almost every single echo is available immediately after you do the first dungeon. You basically don't need to complete any dungeon to be able to get every single echo in the game.
さあここで、スムーズに弾をひたすら置いていきます。
There are some echoes that are only found within certain dungeons, but you just need to go into the dungeon, get up to the point that they are, and then collect them in order to be able to get everything.
最後は石像の前に戻っていきます。石板ですね。
Except for this one. This is the only one is like, oh, okay, you got to complete everything because this section only triggers and spawns once you've done everything. Like you've done all of the dungeons, and then that's available.
何やら見覚えのあるマークが出てきましたね。
道が開かれましたので、この先に進んでいくんですけれども、宇木将軍はね、とりあえずハイラル城の方をちょっと守ってもらおうということで、ゼルダ姫とトリーが進みます。
これでトリーが諌めるのがいいですよね。
In terms of the overworld, there's been very little things in the overworld that we've actually had to go to and collect, like something important or valuable to us to be able to use. We skipped most of the enemy echoes and like we never collected any like crystals or heart pieces and stuff like that are scattered around everywhere. There's a lot to explore in the overworld and find the like things hidden around everywhere.
そうですね。わしの目は欺けてもっていう、もう欺かれたことを認めてるので割とガバセキュリティみたいですね。
ということで、古の遺跡に到着しました。
はい、タイマーカッターを使って先に進んでいきますが、借り物ゼルダが悪いことしてますね。
もう結界を解除してますね。ディン、フロル、ネイルの紋章が見えますけれども、何やらそこから光が出て。
So in this game, the Triforce isn't called the Triforce.
三角形のマークですね。
はい。こちらは大いなる力。
I cannot remember what it's called.
大いなる力。はい、三女神の残した大いなる力。
It's interesting that they decided to give it a completely different name in this game.
なのではと疑問に思った方もいるかもしれません。なぜこの知恵の借り物では、ゼルダシリーズでおなじみのトライフォースという単語が使われないのか不思議なんですけれども、一応理由があります。
Prime Energy, that's what it's called.
トライフォースという名が忘れ去られてしまうくらい時が経った世界、それが知恵の借り物の舞台になっているからなんです。
へえちょっとタイミング違いましたね
なのでハイラル王家を含めてこの時代の人々はトライフォースっていう単語を知らないそうです。
はい、そうなんですね。それは本当に知りませんでした
なので大いなる力というふんわりした感じで、
そうですね。大いなる力、じゃ我々もそれを踏襲して大いなる力と、はい、で知ってるけど大いなる力と呼ぶことにしましょう。はい、なんか言ってるうちになんかトライフォース、ごめんなさい、大いなる力割れちゃいましたけど、
ガバセキュリティですね
ガバセキュリティでしたね あ、でも帰ってきましたね。
3つが分断されて、1つはヌール。
So yeah, activating it, it breaks off into all of its
消えていきました。
何やら借り物
into its component parts, and just like the Triforce, it's got the Triforce of power, wisdom, and courage, and they flew off to Zelda, Link, and our main baddie of this game, the main villain, who has stayed in the shadows this whole time. I'm gonna get introduced to them very soon.
誰のことなんでしょう。
カメラに何か映ってますけれども。
But this here is the point of no return. You can't escape from the no. Sorry, this is not the point of no return. They do ask, hey, do you want to leave? Are you sure you want to go into this section? You kind of think that, but no, you can still leave the section because there are warp points here.
そうですね。まあでも今までたくさんね借り物入手してき
If
た
you
ので
want to be able to go back and collect other stuff in the
寒さ暑さには強いです
in
か
the
ら。
game, but we're in a speedrun here. We've got everything that we need. We're just going to go finish up. So we got Gust Gero, and here we go. So this section is a really long section, and it's really important that we brush the ground there with the Gust Master to help restore its ability, so that it's able to use an extra Gust charge to be able to make the entire way here, and it just ran out there.
全てのギミックを
And
You know,
yeah,
I had a really bad feeling as soon as I saw this area didn't have a ceiling.
紫ルピー50ルピーに集められたリンク君が一瞬見えましたが借り物ゼルダ戦ですね。
yeah, it's just skip all of it and trigger the fight at the end. Yeah, so this is going to be a
雑魚敵を召喚してくるんですけどもゼルダの
this
姿
is a fight with Echo Zelda. This is almost exclusively the reason why we get level 3 sword. It's so useful throughout the whole run, but it destroys this fight.
これで最終形態かな。やることは変わらないです。エネルギーゲージを回復して
Yeah, we want to make sure that we use up that energy potion just to maximize the damage we do in this, and yeah, perfect fight.
一度も敵を出さずに撃破
We don't care how much energy we have at this point, because we have used our sword ability for the last time.
一度敵が召喚されてしまうとロックオンがその雑魚敵に吸われてしまったり
From this point, we just saved Link, and yeah, that was the last use of the sword ability. We just cracked the crystal open, and just like what Link did at the beginning of the game to rescue Zelda, we're rescuing Link, and can.
今作で
At this
広い
point,
枠ですね
we're gonna give Link all of his equipment back, his sword, and oh no, we left his bow and bombs on the ground in the respective dungeons because we didn't bother picking them up. But from this point on, we don't get our sword ability anymore. We have to rely on Link to be the damage dealer.
残るはヌールが持っていた一つ。
Now is the point of no return. We're going to go into the final dungeon, which is called
ゼルダ
Null.
姫からリンクに武器を返却するというイベントが発生しますこのイベントを行ってしまうと、ゼルダ姫が剣士モードに変身することができなくなり
So this is the final test, and is like, okay, if you've been a bit too reliant on your sword,
ちょっと渡せ
you
ない
can only use echoes from this point on.
さあここで、取り返した剣を使って早速裂け目に、切れ目を入れていきますさあここからがラストダンジョンです
いよいよですね。
そうですねさあラストダンジョンヌールの体内ですこのゲームの RTA はですね
So to any speedrunners, this is really weird what's happening right now, because everyone who runs the glitch categories always does a wrong warp into this dungeon, and it doesn't trigger the entry point, the correct entry point into this dungeon that is intended, and things don't get loaded correctly. So Link isn't in that first room, and Link is kind of a little bit bugged throughout the rest of this dungeon. We're very much locked into having to do the intended way through this dungeon. So here we go, this is the first fight room where there's some of these blob enemies. I've been calling them blobs. I think their official name is like Tecom, but yeah, they always just chase after you, and we're going to make use of these. The level 2 Dark Nuts are pretty handy for dealing enough damage to kill these guys. And we got a nice spot there. Oh no, it hit. Yeah, I was going to say, this is a Lionel. This is... you really do not want to spawn this guy. Luckily, everyone managed to deal with him nicely. That's great. It's really great that we got level 3 sword, because Link does have a level 3 sword here. We did give him a level 3 sword, so like he did loads of damage to Lion and killed it. But the strat we were going for was standing in a very precise spot so that the blob, as it's trying to get to us, it's just spinning in a circle around us, and it doesn't have a tight enough turning circle to be able to hit us. Really, like a quick puzzle there where we just do a distance echo spawn and just spawn something on the switch there to activate it. And we got like a split room fight where Link's getting bullied on the left-hand side and frozen solid and can't do this fight properly. And we just we kill everything on our side, and then we have to start spawning echoes and stuff on his side to be able to deal with these enemies. That was a particularly poor effort from Link on that side. He got owned real bad, just getting frozen and stuck in the corner. Yeah, he normally does a little bit better than that.
糸チュラを使って上に糸を出しつつ進んでいきます。さあこの先に糸チュラを出して、はい、糸を伝って先に進みます。は床ビュンで進みます。ブローボールの風は基本
Yeah, for this section onwards, we're gonna have to be subjected to how smart Link is, and he's not smart. We've already established that Link is a dummy.
影ではない、本物の借り物を使って、先に進んでいきます。
So this is the big 2D section, and basically this entire section is completely skipped in the glitched versions of this dungeon, because earlier on, there is like a section where Link and Zelda are traveling together, and then a barrier appears and separates the two of them. That barrier doesn't spawn if you enter in the through a wrong warp, so we can skip all of that 2D section and just go through Link's side and skip all of that and just arrive in that room and then hit the switch ourselves and continue on.
ゼルダが虚空を見つめるっていうシーンがあったりするんですけど、ちょっとそれは別の話ですね。さあここもリンクの先導に合わせて、タイマーカッターで素早く進んでいきます。最後の最後まで大活躍ですね。さあこの先のフロアが、ボス戦ですね。この先の次か。
Alright, that's this dungeon over, and it is time for the final boss. This is Null. It is, there are 3 main stages of this, so this is going to be the first stage. This is Null 1. We can't do damage to him. Link has to do the damage. We have to make him vulnerable for Link, and that involves binding and manipulating the everything in this fight, so this is very much an indirect fight where we're just trying to manipulate and move things around in the right way. So like, we're going to grab Link, we're just going to attach a little toddler leash to him and drag him over to where we want him to be in the room, because he's not sensible. Yeah, no, Link is misbehaving today.
Yeah,
there we go.
まだ腕は3本ですね。
And yeah, this is how this fight is going to do. That's going to repeat 3 times in a row, where we pull the arms out so that it's like stretched white and looks vulnerable, and then Link does a spin attack to kill it. Those arms can be killed just by like damaging them, but they have such high health, it takes a long time to do. However, if you drag them out to max length and Link does a spin attack, it just triggers an instant kill on them. So that's always just going to be the fastest way to deal with those guys.
います。あ、いいですね。いい感じ。ちょっと と余計なことしましたね今。
謎の縦切りが
謎の
入りました。
縦切り入りましたね。
We made it vulnerable for the third time, and we hit it and killed it. And that is null 1 killed. And now we're going to trigger into. We're going to jump into the second stage. This is null 2, and this is a swimming section. And this right here is entirely an auto scroller. You literally just need to wait for a certain point, and then the boss's health gets reduced down to 1, and you can just tap it and kill it. You can damage it at any point throughout to slowly lower its health down, but it doesn't matter. As soon as it hits a certain distance traveled, it instantly just goes down to 1 health. And there is no possibility of killing it before it gets to that point. It has too much health. So yeah, we just swim and chase after it. And there's a very specific point in the room. The ceiling and floor kind of like form a pinch point coming up here. There we go. And we just hit it instantly. That was exactly on the point that it became vulnerable, and we just hit it once and fight over. Now this is null 3. Null 3 is the hardest part of the entire run. This is a this is an extremely volatile fight, and Link decided to misbehave there. Are we going to be able to rescue this? Link spin? Thank you. Yes, great. Awesome. So, this is very much a repeat of the first fight, but at various points it's going to spawn like waves of the mini like the bosses from the previous dungeons that are going to do some abilities. We want to minimize those spawns as much as possible. There are 2 different arms that it spawns. There are claw arms that do like a claw attack, and then there are arms that are holding onto tries, and we need to kill the ones that are holding onto tries, because they spawn boss waves. That first cycle was going to spawn the palace. But luckily these are all in like a scripted manner, so we know that that was going to be a Ganon, the 3 Ganon spawns that try and hit us. And if we time this right, is Link going to spin? Perfect. Nice. Limiting these to 1 boss spawn per cycle is fantastic. If you're just too slow, you end up spawning a second wave of bosses, and you have to wait a little bit, but that was fantastic. And in these intervening waves where the arms are coming out of the walls, the previous one was the Dark Nuts, and that was the Dark Nuts are a little bit tricky but easy to manage. This is the Lazalfos, and these are brutal. Yeah, they are like, once they've decided to start coming after you, they're so difficult to dodge. And also, there is a patch of there's a claw in the ground that's running around that tries to grab you. If it grabs you, you basically lose 30 seconds. You're trapped in a cage. You can't get out. So here's the boss phase, and this is Goma. The Goma and Morgrith boss things is a little bit slow. This is very laggy on Switch 1, but there's virtually 0 lag on Switch 2. It's so much faster. But that was a fantastic null 3. 1 cycle, like 1 boss spawns per cycle is the best you could get. You can't get any better than that. So yeah, that was fantastic to see. GG's. We're coming up on time in a little bit. We've made the Triforce spawn. We're gonna pull it, and we're gonna get a little cutscene here. We're gonna mash A, and as soon as the Triforce pops out, it's gonna be time. And time. Nice.
GG.
Yeah, GG. That was a sick run. Yeah, 334 is. Like this, like we say, this is a 4-hour category. That wasn't 4 hours. That was 3.5.
というわけで、この後しばらくムービーが流れるんですけども、まずはちょっと奏者の直人さんに感想した感想の方をお伺いできればと思います。
じゃあ感想した感想ですけど、まず最初にちょっと前半部分でちょっと チッというあんまりこの場にふさわしくない音を出してしまったことをちょっとお詫びしたいと思います。まあもちろん
Yeah, that was a absolutely fantastic effort from Naoto. They were running like very close to their PB throughout that run.
感想もう一度走りの方ではまあ個人的には寄付額投票の
I'm just trying to pull up
3時間35分以内に
to see
走り
what
きれれば、まあ、100点上げてもいいかなって思ってたので、その点では本当に満足いける走りが
their PB is. It's a 3:31.14.
完璧ではないにせ
So
よ
yeah, they were within like 3 minutes of it, and in such a long category like this, like 3 minutes is like easy to like to add
大丈夫ですか
up.
大丈夫です。
Yeah, very impressive, especially with such a long run. That's so much closer to PB than to even the estimate.
Oh yeah, this run is second place. Like
Gee, yeah, okay.
Well, except for their own. Like if we're discounting their own PB, they are still second place with this run. So yeah.
幸いであります。このゲームは Any% 走ったことがあると伝えてたんですけども、グリッチレスは本当に全く別物と言っても過言でもいいようなカテゴリーで、かなり勉強してきたつもりだったんですけども、ちょっとなかなか伝えきれなかった部分があってちょっと悔いが残るんですが、皆様にね終わった後に某 SNS やら何やらでなんか知恵狩り面白かったよとか言っていただけるととても心が晴れやかな気持ちになりますので、ぜひともよろしくお願いいたします。
Yeah, all right. They're doing their closing remarks, it looks like. So while they're doing their closing remarks, thank you, Myth, for commentating for us. It was a pleasure being here for the 3.5 hours. Oh, well, just about exactly 3.5 hours because the first 4.5 minutes, someone else was here. But yeah, thank you. Do you have any of your own shout outs, and where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on for commentary. It's been an absolute blast. You can find me on my YouTube. I mostly post strats and like setup videos and tutorials and stuff for the Zelda games that I run, which are Echoes of Wisdom and The Minish Cap. If you enjoyed this speedrun, absolutely check out the Echoes of Wisdom speedrunning community. Come in and say hi, and we got loads of runners in, and we love to see new people and new faces pick up this game.
配信をご覧の皆様も温かい、拍手、笑顔、笑い声、コメントありがとうございます。はい、本日は本当にありがとうございました。
Thank you. And that also concludes the little Zelda block that we had. We had a Zelda Link Between Worlds, any percent. We had Wind Waker all dungeons, which was fun running. Props to the runner there. And then we had Echoes of Wisdom, newest entry in the series, commentated by Myth. Thank you for being here. We have so many more runs coming up as well. Of course, we have Esper Bokentai, and then Romancing Saga 2. We have a little mini Mega Man block with Maverick Hunter X into Mega Man X3. There's so much more event still coming. We still have 2 more full days of RTA in Japan coming up. If you want to know exactly what is coming up, use !schedule in the chat, and that will give you a link to the English schedule that we have set up for this event. And hey, if you find something on the schedule that you feel like you could commentate, then !! form, you are more than free, and we would be so happy to see you sign up to commentate.
話しかけてるシーンなので、
私はこのシーンは初見で泣きました。
これですね、ゼルダの表情がどんどん変わっていくのがまたエモーショナルなので、
もうそろそろですかね。
As we're going through the ending cutscenes here.
はい、というわけで、見せれたシーンも、ね、お見せできたんで、もうこの辺でそろそろおいとましようかなと思います。以上、知恵の借り物グリッチレスの RT でした。RTA in Japan Winter はまだまだ続くので、引き続
Yeah,
きよろしく。
then they are wrapping up that run. Once again, everyone, this is English Speedrun Restreams and our English language restream of RTA in Japan. That was Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Thank you to Myth for being here to commentate. And we are going to go to a quick break while we get set up for Asper Bokentai. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back soon.